Welcome to Lorehammer, episode 34, Ordo Hereticus and the Adeptus Sororitas.
Hello and welcome back to Hello.
Welcome to Lorehammer. Sorry, is this my part? Or
no,
your part?
this is not your podcast.
Well then,
okay, thank you. Hello and welcome back to Lorehammer. My name is Eric. This is Mark.
Oh, this is Christian, and I have a female penis.
I mean, we all
is
do
this where
that.
we're starting? is this what we're starting?
That's a
with?
great tone to set for for this entire episode. No, welcome back. It's been a solid 2 weeks since we talked to you, the people.
A solid 2 weeks.
Yeah, I don't know.
Just like every other time.
I'm assuming.
No, it's better than a soft 2 weeks. It's been a hard 2 weeks.
Welcome to this episode. This is about the Ordo Hereticus and the Adeptus Sororitas, a.k.a. the Sisters of Battle, a.k.a. the Girls in White, a.k.a. the Purgators, a.k.a. my BFFs,
None of those are like
a.k.a.
the
my
common
ultimate
names.
girlfriend.
What?
What?
Nuns with guns.
My waifu.
Oh my god.
I have a
Ew.
pillow. I have a waifu pillow of an
Ew.
Adeptus Sororitas
Gross.
of the Ordos Militant.
Of course.
Of course.
What
It's not like I'm going to do an Orders Hospital, or was it ridiculous?
You like a little
Losers.
violence in your...
I think the two words I hate most are wifey and waifu.
What about hubby? I like looking at restaurants and seeing the Google reviews. It's like, I took my hubby here, and I'm like, what is is he a child? Because it sounds like you treat
Because I think
him
that's
like
illegal
one.
in Canada
Is it?
for now.
Oh. Anyways, welcome to our episode. Before we get into the meat of it, we would like to say thank you so much to 3 new patrons of ours. Thank you to Daniel, Jacob, and Woody. Everything that you guys donate is going directly back into rehabilitation of Mark for his
I'm going
education.
through some speech therapy courses so I can learn how to enunciate
You're doing
and
so
read.
well. It's really working.
Thank you.
We finally been able to. Oh man, that's my problem. We've finally been able to.
There's always one who seems to be a retard. And it
this
is
time
no
it's me.
longer me.
We just pass the pencil, and everyone who holds
Everyone
it
gets a turn.
It's their turn. Yeah. But thank you guys. If you guys are interested in supporting us and helping us pay our Lorehammer
Rent.
bills, yeah, helping us pay our rent, we do have a Patreon as well. If you're looking for sweet Lorehammer swag, check out our Redbubble. Find it all on Facebook. Anyways, let's ignore all that jazz because who really gives a shit? Anyways, and let's get right into Pictionary, but with words, because obviously if we played real Pictionary, none of you guys would be able to see it. That would be dumb.
It would just be silence.
I
and you
tried
hear
to
a
do it
marker
once.
squeaking.
Christian, what the heck is that? Penis. It's a penis. Why are you drawing
The female penis.
But today, Christian is going to be playing. So what he has to do is he has to pick a topic in his brain that we have to try and guess, but he only gives us one word of a clue at a time, and we will attempt to guess based on all of that. So Christian, take it away.
All right. Well, thanks for that introduction, Eric. Mark. Is Jordan in on this too?
Of course he is.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Sure, let's do
Excellent.
Jordan's just
So-
going to start Googling the words that you say.
Eventually, he'll get it right.
Yeah.
Your first word is fire.
Go ahead, Mark.
Salamanders.
Incorrect.
Vulcan.
Incorrect.
I have no clue.
Incorrect. All right. Your next word is Imperium.
So if you choose a word, would that word potentially also be in the word you want us to say?
No.
Okay.
No, that would be giving it away. You can't do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Word bearers.
False.
A purgator.
Heretical.
What?
Still no idea.
Google it, Jordan.
Still incorrect. Your next word is power armor.
Legion of
Damn it, that was mine.
That would have been good, but no.
Oh, okay, that was my guess. Okay, so not Legion of the Damned.
Oh wait,
Fire,
I googled it.
Imperium,
No, never mind.
It's a picture of a cat.
Witch Hunters.
Incorrect.
Okay, that's Jordan. Go for it. Guess.
Guess. Take a wild
The
shot in the
Emperor.
dark.
Well, I googled and there's Hellfire power armor from Fallout.
Incorrect. You're like, I think I have it. Nope, wrong universe.
Yeah.
So this next one might give it away. So if you guys still get it wrong, I don't know where to go from here. Sword. Wait, hold on. We should do something about turn order because if suddenly you know what.
No, that did not help me at all. So it's
Fire, Imperium. What'd you say? Power armor, and the
And
other one
sword.
was sword.
Yeah. Is he just describing every single Space Marine that's ever had painted like a little flame on them
Yeah.
or carried a flamer or a pistol? Like, I don't know.
Yeah,
Oh,
man, I don't know either.
Reboot Gilliman, maybe?
He is correct.
Oh, bam. Reboot Gilliman's
He's
carrying
got the
flaming-
Emperor's sword.
Yeah.
I know.
He's also wearing power armor. Apparently,
Yes.
he's for
And
the
also,
Imperium.
he's running the Imperium now.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
I was
We did it.
I was gonna go to Ultramar next, but then I thought
Or
that'd be
literally
great.
just Primarch.
Yeah, Ultramarine. Right, but then that gives you
Yeah.
what? Very limited selection. You're just gonna keep guessing
First
names.
word, blue. Second word, Primarch. Ooh. Good game, everybody.
Korax.
Korax. I was gonna say Korax too. I guess we're both colorblind.
No,
We
just
see
me.
black as blue.
Just me.
Yes, I can drink your
Anyways.
Slurpee.
Let's dive right into today's episode, which is all about the Ordo Hereticus. We are still talking about the Inquisition. This is our fourth and final episode of the most prestigious of Imperium organizations, the most secretive, maybe the most secretive, probably the most secretive.
What?
I don't know.
Inquisition or this one specifically?
The Inquisition.
Oh yes, because this one is the most well known.
No, I can think of more secretive.
That's what I'm saying. Maybe. Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows? Not me. I don't live there.
Okay.
But today we are talking about witch hunters. This, the Ordo Hereticus, is the last or major ordos of the Inquisition to ever be created. So let's talk about their purpose first of all.
The purpose is to keep a watchful eye on the ecclesiarchy. And we'll talk more about that when we talk about their founding. But when they were originally founded, they were supposed to just keep an eye on the imperial faith and make sure things weren't going out of hand.
Because they definitely did.
Rather quickly.
Rather quickly.
Yeah, some would say that...
It was definitely needed. Mm-hmm. Yeah. After they were founded and they started doing this, they realized that, there's more things in the Imperium to look out for. So they expanded their view to encompass all of mankind, which had to do with witches, mutants, heretics, psychers, traitors, deviants, pretty much anything that falls outside of the Imperial Creed.
How deviant do you have to be to be on
Pretty
their-
fucking deviant.
Mark really needs to know this.
I do.
His life might depend on it.
I still think you're pretty safe, amigo, compared to the boundaries of 40K.
Okay, good. So I can still do what I'm doing currently.
I sure hope so. I hope what
Perfect.
you're doing is not bad. Okay.
Don't look under the
So
table.
innocent, Eric. So innocent.
But let's talk about how they were founded. So they were actually created during the Age of Apostasy.
You got a very different,
Professional.
professional vibe going on right now.
Like
very,
his voice is very.
yes,
'cause I'm
it's
sick.
not normally how you talk.
He
It's
becomes more
throwing you
intelligent
off.
the sicker he gets.
No, guys, that's what school is doing to me. I'm
Oh,
so
Eric is a new
intelligent.
university student. His
Yeah.
brain is getting so
Yeah,
big.
all 2
It's
weeks of it is
massive.
just
Pumped full of knowledge every day.
Did you guys know that? I don't have
Don't
anything to
embarrass
say.
yourself.
schools are a
Joke.
leftist breeding ground.
Not really. I'm already left. You can't get more left.
Eric's a radical communist.
I'm not a communist. I just think
That's why your hair's red?
I just
dyes
think,
it.
I just think maybe that Stalin was misunderstood. That's all. That's all I'm trying to say. But that will be on our other podcast.
Eric's other podcast.
Eric goes to school. That actually wouldn't be a terrible podcast.
No, that would be awful.
No, that would be pretty good.
I think NPR would pick it up right away.
The the Ordo Hereticus is created directly following the events of the Age of Apostasy, and we actually had a huge episode on this.
Man, it's just throwing me off.
I'm sick, man. What do you want me to do? This is Eric for Smooth Jazz.
That's what
it sounds like.
Yeah, like it's
late
just like
night radio.
it's so different.
Easy listening.
Oh boy. Okay.
Smooth listening, Christian. Smooth as butter. Welcome to my bro hangout. All right. Christian, I'm going to keep touching you. Leave your arm there. So if you go back and listen to episode 24, if you need a refresher of who Goj Vandire was, but really
what happened
briefly,
in the Age of Apostasy.
really briefly, a guy took power of the church and contested against the Imperium, and there was a big war, and they called it the Age of Apostasy. The Imperium won. Goj Vandire was struck down.
Yeah.
And then the Ordo Hereticus was created out of that.
Yeah. But yeah, basically it was just one giant religious war that
Was mostly
a civil
internal.
war. It was a
to the
civil
Imperium,
war.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the one thing too why they overthrew George Vandire.
Goj.
George.
I was talking to the other
Joffrey.
day. He called him like 2 different names.
Joffrey.
Joffrey.
Because he was a little bitch.
No, the reason why they overthrew him because like he was taxing all the citizens like crazy. Like he was building massive fortresses and just really not being good with
It's hot.
Church
It's
money?
hot.
church money. Yeah.
I mean, as the churches want to do.
Exactly.
We've never seen that before, have
No,
we?
exactly.
Or have we seen kings war with popes?
Catholicism.
Popes and kings got along always at all times.
So yeah, basically, yeah, it was corrupt. They threw him down. They kind of reorganized it, and this is when the Ordo Hereticus was founded to keep a watchful eye and make sure it wasn't going to happen again.
Yeah, the ecclesiarchy actually had its own regulatory checks that were meant to stop this.
Sure.
But it just apparently wasn't enough. And I was talking with Mark about it, and I was like, well, that's ridiculous. Like, it obviously should have had someone outside looking in. And Mark was like, put it to perspective. He's like, well, if you think about it, like one man going absolutely batshit crazy in like the 10,000 years that this has been alive, they're doing pretty good. And I was like, oh yeah, that's a pretty good point.
Yeah.
Pretty
And
good point.
it's not like you came off as crazy right from the start.
No.
Either, right? He gets people on your side. That's how it happens.
That's always how it happens.
Yeah.
Hitler was a great guy.
Whoa.
okay.
Until he started going crazy. That's the whole point.
You redeemed yourself there. Whew. Still got that Stalin quote,
That's still hanging over your head.
but whatever.
We'll work it out.
Yeah.
The organization of the Ordo Hereticus. Now, this is the largest and most public of the 3 Ordos Majoris.
Yeah. And like it's massive. Like it's probably the second biggest institution, really.
After the Imperial Guard?
Yeah. Like they have so much to draw from, and like they're so intertwined with like the church as well, the ecclesiarchy, that like lots of priests will join the Ordo Hereticus and vice versa, and like they're very intertwined with each other.
And yeah, it could be everything from like an official sanction like Inquisitor to like the Inquisitor deputizes a whole bunch of fanatics to carry out their duty, right?
Yeah.
So they're like,
Go burn this town.
yeah, exactly. Burn this town down. There's heretics that live there, and you get all your pitchorks and your torches, and you go burn down the town.
And all those pitchfork guys are now Inquisitors running around. Like, it's
They
pretty
all get
wild.
like an inquisitorial brand in
Right on their forehead.
Yeah. But yeah, it is the largest one. If you've met an inquisitor, chances are good you were a heretic, and
you deserve whatever you get.
Yeah, exactly. And this is the inquisitor that you have met.
Yeah.
Chances are.
One thing too that I learned about, like the Ordo Malleus, you probably don't know about, but like we got into that huge conversation, like, how secretive is the Ordo, or how secretive is the Inquisition? Like this one appears to be pretty well known, like not like the other two.
No.
Like
It's part of that also knowing that it gives them power, right? Like
Yeah.
you
'Cause
are
it's-
scared of them watching over your shoulder, so don't do anything bad.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Power of fear.
Exactly.
yeah. So while the other two I still hold, they're very secretive. This one is definitely out in the open, and like Eric said, like if you run into one of these guys, like you know who he is, and chances
And you know
are-
you're in trouble.
Yeah, chances are you are a heretic, and that's why he's there for you.
You're either confessing your own sins or the sins of your neighbor immediately.
Yeah.
Eric's a radical communist. I'm sorry. Burn him.
Barely.
But yeah, so
Barely radical.
as we said this, like we keep tossing around the word heretic, like which implies that they're doing something heretical, which
They
ties it back.
deviate from the belief system of the Imperium.
Exactly, which is the belief system of the ecclesiarchy, that the emperor is a god and
Is a divine being.
yeah, all that
Deserves
stuff.
to be worshipped.
And there is variation in that whole ecclesiarchy and imperial creed. It's subtle, but
Yeah, and they do adapt it to the world. So
they do.
If you come from like a tribal planet that believes in human sacrifice, they'll be like, "Oh, you're really sacrificing to God and to the God Emperor of mankind."
Yeah,
like
or they might even just not even say God Emperor. They might just say to the star god,
right, the
or
sky god, and
the sky
yeah,
god,
I believe
or
the space
whatever.
wolves are pretty big on that because
Yeah.
they come from a pretty backwards world.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know,
so,
right?
So there's
Where they
quite
still do dogs.
so there is quite a bit of variation and acceptance, but like it's all kind of just name changes essentially.
Semantics,
Yeah,
for the most part.
exactly.
There are always going to be those couple things that you cannot break.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
like-
that's when the Ordo Hereticus will step in and be like, "Well, now you're a heretic because
X, Y, Z.
Yeah,
Yeah. And I mean, to be fair, it doesn't always have to be execution. It depends on how
Oh, no, of
how
course
much
not.
you
No.
deviate, right?
No, of course
Are you
not.
just a priest that's maybe accumulating a little too much power, or are you straight up worshiping the chaos gods, right? One deserves a torch, the other one deserves a slight branding.
Wait, which order? You said that in the opposite order, right?
No.
Oh, you dare
A
collect
branding of the
wealth.
chaos star.
yeah.
We actually I had some trouble finding anything that was concrete about this, but you can always assume that an inquisitor operates very autonomously. They
Yeah.
choose their own agenda for the most part. They'll go to their own strengths and their own interests, and they'll
Yeah.
do their own investigating.
They go back to that whole Inquisitor cell organization that we've talked about so long ago. But yeah, that like Eric said, they can do whatever they want. They can have a group. They don't have to have a group. They can just
They can team up with other inquisitors. They can take orders from a Lord Inquisitor or a High Lord Inquisitor, but ultimately they are their own boss.
exactly.
So I want to be an Inquisitor, boys.
You would be the worst Inquisitor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
He knows it. He's
we're-
already drunk with power and he hasn't even
I know.
started.
We're about to play a
Yes,
new
he made the connection.
role-playing game. And,
We're about to play a new Pathfinder
I guess
game.
Pathfinder, yeah. And Eric's going to be an Inquisitor. So I'm not looking forward to it.
Excellent.
The one thing, though, is Eric, he's going to play a Dampier, which is like a son of a vampire. Or
It's a half vampire.
Half
Oh, so you
vampires.
have a dirty secret you're trying to hide.
Exactly. Can't really hide it though. But we'll see.
The only way I knew how to counter Eric's retarded inquisition of being going over the top is for me to become a vampire hunter.
Which is also an inquisitor.
So
Fighting fire with fire.
Yeah.
We'll see how this turns out.
it should end out well.
Mark
but-
should know that I don't create characters to mess with him. I create characters to create conflict with everybody.
I know you play the stereotypical odd man out.
Yeah.
Like Eric plays himself just in a different body in real life.
Yeah.
It's true.
Is he a space marine? Oh no, he's just Eric in space marine power armor. Is he-
Guys, I really want to throw my pistol. I really want to do it.
It has a full magazine.
The other thing about the organization of the Ordo Hereticus is that they have extremely close ties with the ecclesiarchy. Now, they are two completely separate bodies.
Yeah.
And one of them was literally created to police the other, but they will use each other just because their goals should be the exact same.
Yeah,
It's
they're-
only when the ecclesiarchal goals differ, that's when the Ordo Hereticus is really gonna put a hands up
Yeah.
to most of it.
Yeah, they're both against heretics, witches,
Yeah.
Mutants,
degenerates.
Ooh, deviants.
deviants.
And the multiple forms of deviancy,
Ooh.
including tentacles,
Anime.
enema. No? All right.
Yeah, they're closely tied, but they are different.
Yes.
And ultimately, like, the Inquisition has power over all these branches and organizations as well, including the church. Like, they police them.
Yeah, like an inquisitor, like I said, could kick in a door on a church and like, no, you're preaching something that's too far off,
Yeah,
and we're here to stop it.
yeah.
right?
But, yeah.
I like all these organizations that are so obviously ridiculously powerful, but strike like a really cool balance within each other. Just there might even be like on one world, you'll have two worlds that are going through the exact same scenario, and on one world, just the power level like tips towards the Inquisition, and the Inquisition will step in. And on another world, the power level will tip towards the ecclesiarchy, and the Inquisition will not step in because they're too worried that they can't do anything about it. Like it's tough to imagine the Inquisition like sending one Inquisitor to Ophelia 7 and saying like, change what you're saying.
Yeah,
To
yeah.
the Pope. To the
Right.
space Pope.
Exactly. Like that would be tough.
Yeah.
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 So it's kind of cool
Yeah,
to
there's
think of all the different
Intrigue and power
Yes,
politics and
much
everything.
of
And then you
that.
throw in all the layers. Like you have the Mechanicum playing and you got like the Administratum playing. It's very
Yes.
cool. Yeah.
So
Real Game of Thrones, as it were.
there's only one throne in the Imperium. And
that's
nobody plays for it
That's
except
the golden throne.
it's already occupied.
Roboot needs to sit his ass down on it.
Oh, he doesn't
Uh-oh.
have to go to the bathroom.
Civil War.
Golden Throne's just
He just needs to take that, grab that thing's spinal column,
Desiccated
rip
corpse.
him out of it, and sit down.
Inquisition here for an Eric.
No.
Yeah, so we've talked about the resources of the Inquisition before. Like they have access to anything that they want.
Yeah.
Like they can draw upon power armor, bolters. They can recruit entire regiments of Imperial Guard. They can do whatever. But there are a couple unique things that the Ordo Hereticus do have, and one thing is their style. Like all of them look very like gothic looking. Like on their power armor, they'll actually have like candles like burning, like incense, and like they'll have braziers and.
Their hats.
They have
Their
like
hats.
Yeah, they'll have like the
And
typical
plumes.
Witchhunter hat.
Yes.
Like
very vampire hunter-esque.
yeah.
Like medieval hunters, like
Yeah.
Inquisitor.
Yeah, like you could
if you don't know what this should look like, you're in the wrong universe, and you're 34 episodes deep at this point.
yeah.
Read a book.
But yeah, they have like a very strong theme to them, like way more than the other two in my mind, way more than the Malleus and the
It's much
Xenos.
more uniformal, definitely.
yeah.
Like you could, like I could like take a look at an Inquisitor, and I would be able to say if it's Hereticus, but I don't know if I'd be able to say Xenos or Malleus.
Yeah, exactly.
Definitely. It definitely like is a leather aspect. The power armor they use even looks more like traditional armor as opposed to like the ceramite
Yeah,
that
yeah.
other
And
ones
it's
use.
very like ornate too
and
as well.
slim.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so Inquisitors, we'll talk about their retinue because they can have quite a few things that the other Inquisitors won't have or don't use as often.
Mm-hmm.
But the first one, which is really crazy, are arcoflagellants. Flagellants? Flagellites.
Flatulence.
No.
Arcoflatulence.
Flagellants.
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 Okay.
Okay.
It's flagellants.
Aha!
Flagellate?
My speech
Self-flagellating?
pronunciation is
Flagellation.
coming through.
Self-flagellation. The G is a J sound. Self-flagellation. Not that I do it. Not that I encourage it.
Who knows?
But what they basically are people who have done some heretical act or have done a crime against the Imperium, and the Inquisition will round them up. Well, actually, the ecclesiarchy will round them up, and they'll basically
And the Mechanicus is the one who does this to them. But
yes. Mechanicum does everything technically,
technical.
technical thing, but they'll basically sit them down in a chair, strap them down, and then cut off most of their limbs, replace them with chainsaws, whips, raptor talon legs.
Whatever looks freaking sweet.
Yeah,
Whatever would really help them in their repentance.
yeah.
That's
Basically,
the main thing.
We're doing this for you,
They're
not
just-
for us.
basically they'll just modify their bodies to just be these crazy killing machines where they're just destroy any form of like the human body and just make it into a crazy machine.
And then they put on these hoods.
Yeah, the pacifier hoods. And basically the pacifier hood is just like it links into their brain and it basically turns it into sleep mode so that when they're transporting them they're not active. And
Well,
then
they
when
actually in that moment they also see like prayers and like
Yeah.
images of the emperor.
Puts them into like a trance-like state, and then they have
Yeah.
yeah. But it's supposed to be
Holy
also
hymns
yes,
and things
exactly.
to,
It's
like-
not just sleep. It's
Ye-
more just
okay,
like a brainwashing,
Yeah.
really.
And then they'll ship them to a battlefield, and then they'll flick that kill switch on, and then like their body will get pumped full of like all these crazy like chemicals like adrenaline and steroids, and they're just like
anything
berserker drugs,
things
like-
to make you crazy.
And they'll flash
Yeah.
images into their head of like death and like
Violence.
sin and shame because they're supposed to.
It's a
turn them in-
repentant act.
Yeah.
So
So
there's a
supposed-
lot of religious.
They're so
connotations
full
to
of
it.
like
Yeah.
shame and like
guilt.
that they actually like run headfirst into combat.
Yeah, and then they either survive or they die. And if they survive the battle, then they put them back in the pacifier hood, or they flick that switch again, and then they return to a calm state.
because they're always wearing that hood.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a secret, Cap. I'm always angry.
I'm always wearing my hood.
But yeah, like those are very uniquely like ecclesiarch, and then every now and again, an Ordo Hereticus Inquisitor can ask to have one of these guys, and then we'll take them on in their retinue.
What makes them is that you'll never see this in an Ordo Xenos or an Ordo Malleus retinue.
It's an avenue for people to repent of their sins.
Yeah, and that's ultimately like the big thing is, only in death can you be redeemed type
exactly. But at least you can be useful before we just put a bullet in your brain.
Yeah, and the Imperium's known for doing this, like servitors and all that kind of stuff. If you've stolen one extra ration, now you're a servitor, you know?
Yeah, we don't know exactly how strict the penal code is. Like,
Depends-
there's no...
It all depends on who's the judge.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. It doesn't say, like, oh, this crime equals
Yes,
this penalty.
that's very true.
Change planet to
it's-
planet.
Yeah, exactly. It's
Country
difficult to say...
City to city within the planet, even.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But usually this kind of thing would be reserved for crimes against the Imperium more so than, like, oh, you assaulted your neighbor.
Yeah, this would be like treason, essentially, like something.
Yeah, something that was, like, against
Maybe
the
you tried to,
Imperium or
like,
against
summon
the
a demon.
church. Maybe, or maybe something slightly less.
Or maybe
Like, you're preaching out against the Imperium, like, oh, overthrow, like a radical communist would.
maybe
Standing
you
in the
did-
street square, inciting hatred towards their government.
Who would do that? The Imperium is a wondrous...
Towards this is the bourgeoisie.
Exactly.
Like the Imperium.
Jordan, you're teetering on the edge there.
The other thing that Ordo Hereticus Inquisitors will call upon is fanatics. Like, anyone who's just so devoted to the ecclesiarchy, they'll call upon, and they'll like summon like huge riffraff rambles of the whole pitchfork people, and they'll use them.
Get your pitchforks.
Yeah, like
the mob.
The mob. Yeah.
Essentially, yeah, like
But not the gangster mob.
No.
The mob.
The people mob.
The people
The
mob.
mob of the people.
You, the people.
but like they'll just like rouse entire populations into like this fanatical state and then use them.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Fanatical
Go get
devotion
that
to the
guy.
emperor.
All 6,000 of you get that one guy.
Yeah. Another thing they'll use is death cult assassins, and they're basically
They're assassin wannabes, really.
they're not actually a part of the official Assassinorium,
Yeah.
but
They're not playing on the same level.
no.
No, not even remotely. But it is like an actual cult and an organization within like the Imperial cities, right? And where they focus solely on the blade.
Yeah.
That's like the big thing is you have to, and every cut and like stab that they create offers like a different veneration of like the emperor, which is kind of cool. Like they turn their blade work into like worship.
Yeah,
of the
and they
emperor.
do like a lot of blood rituals and stuff too,
Yes,
which is
a
crazy.
lot. And cannibalism even.
Yeah.
Yeah, like there's a lot of tie-ins with like the religion of the Imperium because the Emperor is in this almost like pseudo-death state that like, and that's why like all their architecture and corporate all skulls and things like death is and they always like talk about sacrifice and like giving yourself up for the Imperium. So like that's why the acts of killing are also seen as like worship in a system that venerates death and death of yourself or death of the enemy, right?
Right.
Either
Yeah,
one.
of
Like,
course.
it's a very strong theme that flows there.
40K and strong themes. Eh? I got a couple.
No subtlety.
An interesting thing about Death Cult Assassins is if you catch the eye of a particular Inquisitor while you're in their retinue or someone else sees you, you can actually be sent to the Officio Assassinorum for additional training.
Yeah, and I wonder if when they say additional training, they mean like they will actually take them and turn them into Vindicator or Vindicar or
I would only assume that's the case.
Eviscerator, or if they mean
Just
additional training,
new
it-
skills and then
Yeah.
send them back as
Yeah.
a more proficient assassin.
Yeah,
but still
as-
not playing on like that tier 1 level.
Yeah,
I would only assume that like once you join like the Officio Assassinorum, like you're theirs and they're not pumping back out Death Cult Assassins.
yeah.
That's my assumption.
Yeah, and I would
I
think
think I
they
would
would,
lean-
they would
Same with
close-
the tech marine. A space marine doesn't go there to learn a couple things and then come back a regular space marine.
Yeah,
No,
he gets
now he's a
indoctrinated into the
fully
cult.
fledged. Yeah.
And it like the Assassinorium is secretive enough that I wouldn't see them willingly giving out secrets without
Messing
no,
with your
you
brain
don't get to
first.
leave
Yeah.
knowing these things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other thing on death cults that I kind of not 100% sure out, are they uniform or do they like vary also? Like this cult on this planet practices a little differently than this cult
I would
on that
imagine
planet.
so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there has to be.
Like,
Of
world-
course, there's
world to
like whenever
world.
we're talking variation in the Imperium, like
Yeah, like
almost
anything's
99%
possible.
of the time. But like, is the death cult, does that exist as a singular entity, or
No, I
is it
think-
just all these smaller entities coming together? Like, oh yeah, you like to kill for the Emperor, you are a death cult, right?
Yeah, I
some
think
of you might
that's
be
more
more
what it is.
berserkers, and some of you might be more like subtle assassins. Right?
Yeah, I think that's definitely more what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like an official organization.
Yeah.
And the final thing that is really uniquely drawn by the Ordo Hereticus is they're called Crusaders, and they're basically like super fanatics. Usually they'll be like empowered, maybe by the church, by the ecclesiarchy. Like the ecclesiarchy will choose like, oh, you're the most fanatic. Like here, have all this extra war gear and stuff.
Training.
All this extra training. Like they'll pick out like
They're-
those kind of members.
They're like bodyguards, but highly trained bodyguards.
Like, and they're given like crazy equipment too. Like each one has a power sword and a storm shield and super powerful carapace armor, super protective.
Yeah.
So
They also, if it's my understanding, come from like, they can be drawn from anywhere. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, you could even be like an Imperial Guardsman that caught the eye of the church, and you're like, he's a really good fighter. He's
Yeah.
pretty loyal. He comes from like a very
he has 3 purity seals on. I'm like, yeah,
extra loyalty.
yeah.
Or, like someone within their church congregation or anything. They can
Yeah.
come from anywhere. But I do believe there is also noble houses that existed as
There are.
Crusader houses.
Yeah.
Not unlike knight houses, who are almost these like structures within the Imperium that have existed for thousands of years. I believe they go back to the Great Crusade even.
Yeah.
And so
That's
they're
pretty cool.
Yeah,
That's
they're
a
almost like these
crazy
noble
bloodline.
houses exactly
Yeah.
who have a lot of prestige, and they like they train on purpose to become these crusaders.
Yeah.
And so like since childhood, you're raised in a family like your great granddad was a crusader and your father
And
was
he
a crusader.
participated in this crusade,
Right,
and this
exactly.
holy war.
Yeah, and so you have a lot to live up to, and they actually they specialize in close combat on purpose, right? Like in an age of guns and everything else.
Explosions and nuclear
Yeah,
threat.
they see it as an honor bound system where they have to fight in close combat and be proficient as close combat fighters specifically.
Yeah.
Cool.
They're quite cool. They got a cool miniature.
Yeah, they could almost have their own episode, but I think they're on that line of not just having enough, but being,
Well, good thing you don't have any say in the matter.
Good thing you don't have any say in the matter.
Jordan is the podcast now. I am the Senate.
I am the Senate.
I am the captain now.
But Captain, is that legal? I will make it legal. All right. Let's talk about some Ordo Hereticus Inquisitorial war gear. So, obviously, whatever the hell they want, first of all, they're
Yeah.
in the Inquisition.
They can take it. It's funny. Like this is now the 4th time we've talked about Inquisitors. I'm running out of things to say about Inquisitors.
Then they do what they want.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
We just got to get
All right,
the
good
sound,
podcast, guys. Let's shut it
get
down.
the soundbite from the first one and just replay it
Yeah.
here.
Almost could.
But we have included a couple things that are pretty unique to the Ordo Hereticus. That one being the Arc Scourge.
That's basically just like a crazy power maul.
Yep.
Like you hit people with it, then it electrifies everything, and like lightning bursts out of everybody, and it's just a crazy power maul. Because if
Meant
you're not,
to purify their souls.
yeah, if you're not burning them,
Blunt impact.
if you're not burning them, you're crushing them to death.
Right, exactly. Null Rods.
Null rods are basically like anti-psychic stakes, essentially. So psychers can't use psychic powers within X amount of feet of a null rod. And since one of the duties of the Ordo Hereticus is to hunt
Duties.
down duties, joys even some would say, is to hunt down psychers
And witches.
who have
Yes.
actual psychic power and can summon lightning bolts and all that stuff. These null rods come in handy. Where they
course.
just create like a little null zone.
So what is the difference between a Null Rod and a Power Stake, which is another inquisitorial thing?
A power stake is. Do you know what a power sword is? It's a
Yes.
car battery and a katana.
A katana hooked up to a car battery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is, think of a vampire hunter wooden stake,
Yeah.
but
Hooked up to a car battery.
hooked up to a car battery. But not made of wood because wood isn't conductive. It has to be made out of metal.
No, it's hooked up to wood. I've seen it.
But yeah, like a power stake is literally just like
It's a power sword, but it's
In
fashioned
stake
as a
form.
stake because
Yeah.
they're witch hunters
Yeah.
and they're
Whereas-
hunting evil.
Yeah,
Yeah.
an internal power source, obviously,
Yeah.
to make it able to penetrate the hide of enemies.
Nice. Penetrate.
There.
You know nothing about that, Christian. Another thing that is kind of unique to them is a condemnor, I don't know how to say that. Condemner bolt gun.
A bolt gun attached to a crossbow. But so it's literally a bolt gun and a crossbow smushed together. But the bolt that the crossbow shoots is usually like infused with anti-psychic energies or whatever. So you're using your bolt gun on like all the cultists, but then like maybe a demon pops out or like a psyker, then you shoot
Or the
that.
big bad.
Yeah. Then you shoot that with the stake, and like it has all these anti-psychic properties.
Yeah.
But it's a crossbow. It's a fucking crossbow. Like literally when you look at the model, you can see like the crossbow strings. It's not like a Star Wars like Wookiee crossbow.
No.
Okay.
Like,
Yeah, no.
it literally is a crossbow with
Like it looks like you have to crank it.
yeah, exactly. Like it's
Yeah. Welcome to 40 kids.
it's so archaic.
Another thing that they kind of use is the Inferno pistol, which is just a melta gun, but pistol form.
Yeah, it's just a handheld. Or I guess all of them are handheld, but pistol held.
Single handheld. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just tough to make because they're so rare. Because I don't
Yeah.
know.
Technology.
Yeah, I don't know why
Technology
they're
is
super
hard.
rare, but they are very rare.
Miniaturization technology is hard, guys.
Yeah.
Tell that to the Jopkaros.
The Chocobos?
The
Chocobos.
chocobos.
Yeah. And then the last thing I have down here is just crossbows.
They like crossbows.
There's a theme here.
Yeah, like if you're picturing like an inquisitorial retinue, like just it. I always picture like guys just covered in robes and they have hoods and they have like purity seals all over them and there's flamed candle things all
Or
behind
one of them
them.
is just
and
carrying torches.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and-
they have a very Puritan vibe, obviously, with the
Yeah.
whole burning witches at the stake. They
Yeah.
even wear the buckle hats and everything. And
yeah, power
Quakers.
pitchforks
Yeah.
and stuff and
Power pitchforks.
Yes, power.
Add it to the list.
yeah, power pitchforks and like it's just
You
that.
better be
whole-
listening, GW. That's what we want to see.
Yeah, it's a very strong theme,
Jonah
and I can
Hex.
just picture
Yeah.
like a bunch of like the inquisitorial retinue just like literally having crossbows and.
And in some cases, like the retinue, like if like the rabble component of it, right? They just grab some farmer or some guy, and they're like, "Hey, you seem fanatical enough. Come with me.
Yeah, exactly.
We're gonna go hunt some vampires, bitch.
Yes.
I've been chosen." Little does he know that he's
dead in
cannon
30
fodder.
minutes.
But yeah, like there's such a strong theme there that I just love so much.
Oh, for sure. It is very, like, it's much more style than the other ones.
Yeah.
And on the theme too, like not included in the weapon list, but they tend to use a lot of flame-based weaponry.
Yeah,
right.
and we'll show that a lot more when we talk about the Sisters of the Battle.
Yeah, but the theme
but-
carries across. Like you
yeah,
said,
it's-
torches, candles, burning people at the stake,
Exactly.
flamers, flame pistols.
Yeah, it
Something about
They like
burning
fire.
and purity,
Well, that's how you burn away the
impurities.
Oh, what about a power brand?
Ooh, I'd like to see that.
It's so powerful that it punches through you. so it's literally like a hole of the brand, like,
Right
so
through
you-
your body.
Yeah, like
And it's the eye.
The
yeah.
inquisitorial
And so you
eye.
just are
Inquisitorial
left
eye,
with like an eye through your body. But it like seals itself, so
Exactly.
that's the branding portion. So you survive.
I'm not opposed to this. And if you look at it the right way, there's just, you can see the light come through the eye and it just blesses everything.
Everyone in its presence.
Yeah, exactly. When it comes to requisitioning armies for their purposes, again, it's the Inquisition. Anything and everyone that they want, they're going to get.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, there's limitations within their power, but it's
Yeah.
the Inquisition, and you better have a good reason for saying no.
Yeah. But they do drop from two primary places. The one is it's the Fornatus Milita. Do you remember what the
Like the military branch that used to exist.
yeah
Fraterus.
Fraterus Templar, yeah.
Yeah.
But then they changed it to Fraterus Militia.
No, they're different. They're two different
Okay, well,
organizations.
whatever they do draw from.
Yeah, they have
I
like
don't know why I didn't write it down.
a
But
militant group, but
yeah,
the
basically,
militia is
it's like an ecclesiarchy army of just, but it's like it's not regimented. Like it's basically just filled with fanatics. Like there's
rabble,
no,
yeah.
it's a militia. Like
Yeah.
So they draw from them. They also draw from the Sisters of Battle, and that's what we're going to be talking about for the rest of the episode.
Adeptus
Whoa,
Sororitas.
hold on, before we switch topics here.
Okay.
Quick little thing I want to talk about on the people that they hunt.
Okay.
That
Sure.
the Inquisitors hunt. I know I'm going off script, Eric. He's off script. Shut him down. No.
I will pull your plug
Right out of your microphone.
now and when you're in a coma.
I'm looking forward to it, Eric.
End this miserable existence.
Just on, like, we quickly skimmed over the people that they hunt. Actually, I was talking to Micah about this. He had a question. He was like, why does the Ordo Hereticus exist if you already have, like, demon hunters?
Okay.
And so they hunt more than just chaos, corruption. That's part of their job, and there's a little bit of overlap there with them and the Ordo Malleus, who, like, specifically, there's, like, a level, right? Like, oh, now we're dealing with demons versus, like, guys trying to summon demons.
Yeah.
Probably going to call some backup from the Ordo Malleus, right?
Yeah.
Versus when they're more in charge of, like, any kind of deviation from the Imperial creed. It doesn't necessarily have to be chaos, although chaos is included in that.
Yeah.
But things like basic mutation, for example, mutants, really look down on any deviation from the human genetic norm.
Yeah.
They hunt down witches, like you said, people who are born with natural warp inclinations. They might not be doing it on purpose or not be chaos aligned, but they're rogue elements that need to be reined in for the safety of the Imperium.
And it even goes one step further too, like, because they do hunt down heretics. So if you're not worshiping the Emperor, you are a heretic. I am a heretic because I do not worship the Emperor.
Right. It goes beyond.
Yeah, I have no corruption to me.
Yeah, you don't have to worship chaos.
I'm not even actively going against the Emperor.
Exactly.
You know?
But you're not in the fold, therefore you're out of the fold. You're not with us, you're against us.
Yeah, no, that's a valid point. And that is why there is two different branches, because this takes care of anybody
who goes extremely outside of the other branch. But there is, like I said, a little bit of overlap with the whole demons and things like that.
Sure. Well, like there can be overlap with all of them, like, because you can have an alien army who likes to get possessed, and then you could call in the Ordo Xenos and the Ordo
And they've
Malleus.
infected the ideal of an entire human planet.
Yeah,
which now
they
created a bunch
all
of witches.
definitely can have,
of course,
a lot of overlap.
Or even gene sealer cults, for example, right?
Yeah.
That's an alien infection in a human population, right?
that worship something else.
Exactly. So the Ordo Hereticus might catch on to it and be like, oh, these guys are deviating.
Yeah.
And then the Ordo Xenos might come in too and be like, well, there's Xenos involvement too, so this is our ball game. Just whoever's around at the time, or they might call on each other for backup, or they might want to just deal it with themselves. I'm here right now. I'm going to deal with it. Yeah. And there are all kinds of aliens too that, like we talked about even in the minor Xenos episodes, that like to infiltrate as individuals into human populations, and that's up to the Ordo Hereticus to root them out. Yeah. It's not necessarily a worldwide incursion. It could just be, like a vampire-like alien that's feeding off of people in the village, right? And now this guy shows up in the local tavern with his hood and his torch.
His power pitchfork. Power torch?
Power stake.
Or the power torch be a
here to hunt some
flashlight?
vampires.
A flashlight.
Power torch.
So just a quick little thing on that.
That would be a las gun.
But that's worth noting for sure.
Yeah. Just before we switch topics.
Yeah.
But Sisters of Battle.
Yeah, so Sisters of the Battle are the most well-known portion of what is actually the Adeptus Adepta Sororitas.
Thank you for correcting your spelling, Mark.
I am pronunciating things perfectly now.
Keep bringing in those English class language dollars.
Uh-oh.
You were losing. I was trying to learn Russian.
But yeah, so the Adepta Sororitas is actually a huge organization with a bunch of different branches, but the Sisters of Battle is the most well-known, and I don't know if it would be the biggest, but
I would say no, but we can get to that. We can get to that.
Numbers in 40K are hard.
Yeah. But yeah, so the Adeptus Sororitas, we'll talk about them. They were created from the Brides of the Emperor during the Age of Apostasy by Goj Vandire.
So they used to be called the Daughters of the Emperor?
Brides.
They were the brides, and then they became the daughters.
He changed them to the daughters.
Yeah.
Okay, so they originally were just a group of very fanatical women in a nunnery, really a convent, and they called themselves the Brides of the Emperor. Goj goes and convinces them to join his cause.
Yeah.
They become...
Yeah, because they were very fanatical, and Goj Vandire walked in and it's like, oh, the Emperor, I am the Emperor's divine will, and then...
He protects me, and he told one of his soldiers to shoot him, and after a while the soldier shoots him. No one knew he had a Rosarius on him.
Like a force field.
Yeah, and so he was protected, and they took it as a sign that he was the Emperor's
So they started independently, though.
Yes, they did.
They were an independent cult of the Emperor.
Yes.
Or initially.
Yeah. So yeah, they aligned with Goj Vandire.
As his personal bodyguard.
Yeah. And what ends up happening if you go back and listen to episode 24, Goj Vandire eventually gets overthrown, and the person who does it is actually the leader of the daughters of the brides of the emperor, Alicia Dominica.
I don't know. It's not a real
I'm
word.
going to name my daughter after her.
But she actually killed Goj Vandire herself. So
With some convincing from a man.
boom.
Not just anyone.
I'm just kidding.
But
not
that
really.
officially, that act of that killing Goj Vandire officially ended the
Age of apostasy.
Age of Apostasy, and from there they started to rework this Order of the Daughters of the Emperor, and they reorganized it into the Adeptus Sororitas.
Yes.
Adepta.
And the only reason they were allowed to stay part of the church is because of a loophole set through the decree passive, which was created by Sebastian Thor.
Yeah.
The actual ruling is that the church will have no men at arms, but since they were women, they didn't actually count. And Sebastian Thor, even though he knew about this oversight, said there was still a need for some military presence for the church, so he let it slide.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dude, did you guys talk? I can't remember that episode. It was so long ago.
Yeah.
You introduced Sebastian Thor.
Yeah, really go listen to that episode.
If you forget for some reason.
Yeah,
I just don't remember if we talked about it or not.
Yeah,
We
we
did.
did. So no need to rehash a whole
Yeah.
bunch of the details, but yeah. So they reorganize and they end up creating a bunch of different orders, with various functions. Like some are made for blah 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 blah. And
Yes,
we'll get
which
into
we
them.
will get into.
But
In next episode. No, I'm just kidding.
See ya, suckers.
yeah. But let's first talk about recruitment.
Yes, and we're not talking about old recruitment. We're talking about currently, how does the Adeptus Sororitas recruit people?
Yeah. And most of them are recruited from the Schola Pagenum. That's that elite orphanage that
Elite
it's
orphanage.
It's really just any orphanage.
oh my goodness, Christian, this is your
This is
take
totally my
orphans
thing.
and turn them into soldiers thing. That's basically what they do. They indoctrinate them, which you are also a fan of. I believe.
Fanaticize them.
Yes, they fanaticize them. Yes, make them loyal, make them hardy.
And train them
beat
to fight.
You're also in favor of beating children. I recall you saying
I did
in
not
your
say that.
orphanage.
That is false.
In the official Canadian orphanage.
Run by the Canadian government or the Christian.
Whoa, hold on. This sounds familiar, like it's already been done. Ooh, yeah, exactly.
That's a little too close
Exactly.
to home. But yes, the Schola Progena, which is really just you're right. There is a sense of elitism to it, but it's really just an orphanage run by the church, and it's going to exist anywhere and everywhere.
Yeah,
Yes and
but there's
no.
more to it than that.
Because only officers and stuff.
There's a lot of elite imperial troops
That
from
send-
different branches that come from it.
So yes, but I don't think they will have no problem picking up any orphan off the street and taking them
Inducting
to
them.
Yes, of course. That's all I'm saying. Is that it's
I-
not
I-
just for
I-
elites. It's
Sure.
just that
Here's my thing though. So if they come across this sick, pitiful little orphan, I don't think they're gonna take him in.
He's probably not going to survive.
Exactly. I don't think they're taking in people like that.
We'll
But,
have to.
if-
We'll fight out the details probably on a Schola Progenum episode, because there's a lot that comes from there. You got assassins that get recruited from there, stormtroopers get recruited from there. Sisters of
military
Battle.
Tempestus, not stormtroopers.
Sorry,
Come on, speak high Gothic or
military.
don't
What?
speak at all.
You're in the guard, son.
But yes, they are taken from the progena.
Yeah.
Once they are actually pulled from the progena, they are tested and they're taken to one of the two convents, and there are two convents within the. Did we talk about that yet?
No, that's
we
in-
did, but we're going to.
Yeah.
So there are two different convents within this. They're taken to one of them. Doesn't really matter which. They are subjected to testing to better determine which of the orders they'd be best suited for.
Yeah.
And there are a bunch of different orders.
Yeah, some are made for fighting, so you take the strongest children and you
Most
give 'em-
vicious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where some are more scholarly, and then you take the brightest children, and so they divvy them out to where they need to go.
Sometimes you switch them just to mess with people.
Yeah, you can join different orders. So once you've taken your test to determine where you go, you're further indoctrinated into the traditions. You learn the rules. You learn the tenets of your order and your sisterhood.
Yeah.
And then eventually you become a full-fledged sister, and you are ready to join your order
Yeah.
and fulfill their duty.
Yeah. So let's talk about the actual organization then. Now that we know or where they all come from. So at the very top of the hierarchy of the Adeptus Sororitas is the leader, and they're called the Abbess of the Adeptus Sororitas. Adepta. I always say Adeptus.
I know.
Just, don't worry about it, people.
I know.
Don't worry about it, Dan. This position is currently actually vacant, and apparently it's usually vacant.
Yeah, I didn't even see the last time there was an abbess.
Yeah, the only named one I could find was Alicia.
The very first one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it because it's vacant or just because they don't bother to list them?
I don't know.
Could
Is
be
it
both.
actually stated that it's vacant?
Yeah,
position?
like currently
Or
right
just a
now
bunch
it
of
is
no
vacant.
names?
No,
Right.
like currently right now it's
So there
no
could have
name.
been a bunch of no names up until this present
course.
point, or it could have been just like
The reason
what's the word I'm looking for? Like a ceremonial role that
Dick
like
butt.
yes. Like George Washington is the eternal 6-star general in the United States Army. Like no other general
a
has.
6-star Michelin man.
Who let you on this podcast? Yeah, like is it like she will be the eternal canoness or
No. It's an actual role
Or
because
abbess, sorry.
sometimes the abbesses are known to sit on the High Lords of Terra.
Yeah.
I believe the plural is abbessi.
So
Is that really what you want to go with?
with?
so I wonder if they would just they would only have an abbess if there is a seat on the High Lords of Terra.
And they wanted to get someone voted in or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah,
'cause
because they also switch out who's on the High Lords too.
Exactly. And sometimes organizations don't even get admitted onto the High Lords of Terra. So maybe they only hire an abbess when there's a
Higher. We are now recruiting.
Submit your applications
but
with at least
Female-
5 references.
Females only, please. Don't go down that road. We're not going down that road. I opened up a
But I
can of
mean, it
worms.
is females only.
The Sororitas is a female-only organization in the
They
Imperium.
do not
Those
allow-
misogynist pigs.
Yes.
I mean, misandrist.
Misandrous, misogynist.
Yeah, Christian, learn
It
your
is a
gen-
Misappropriating.
It's a
Sorry,
it is a
Dan.
sorority.
You're a sorority.
Okay. I'm just saying it's in the name.
That's Sororitas?
I didn't even see that.
They have nothing to do with each other.
wait,
Yes,
they
I
have
think
pillow
that
fights?
One is filled with college
Hot,
girls and the
sexy
other one
pillow
is
fights?
filled...
vicious battle nuns.
even if they have
Pick your
female
poison,
penises,
Jordan.
they can still go in.
I mean, all girls technically have female penises. But anyway, within the Adepta Sororitas, there are 2 convents, and one convent is on Ophelia 7, and that is called the Convent Sanctorum, and the other convent is based on Terra, and that is called the Convent Prioris.
Yeah, and the reason why there's 2 convents is I think I found out why.
Oh, yeah?
Because they're founded at 2 different dates. So originally the convent on Terra was founded first, and they came out with like 4 militant branches and blah 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 blah, and then like 1,000 years later or 2,000 years later, we have the dates later in the episode. Then they found the next one. They found one on Ophelia 7.
Probably when they moved. Center of power of the church.
No, that would have all
was
happened
guessing
before. Yeah. So I think that's why it doesn't specifically say that's why there's 2 different types, but just going off when each one was founded, you can assume like, oh, maybe one just grew too big. Let's start up another
Let's split
one.
up it. Yeah.
But Eric also mentioned that maybe there's 2 different convents as the traditional, like, nobody can have too much power, break it off. Like,
Right. The same way there's all these different chapters. Or
yeah.
just like
And all these limits on things,
Yeah.
like just, yeah.
all the sisters can't get corrupted at the same time if we split them up.
Exactly. But yeah, so there's the 2 different convents, and each one is overseen by a prioris, and each covenant also has the same major and minor orders. Eric's shaking his head. He doesn't
Can't
like
find
what
it.
I'm saying.
They were both formed by Sebastian Thor.
But he could have formed them at 2 different times.
No, he formed them at the Reformation of the Ecclesiarch, like when it all happens.
But he could have formed them at 2 different times.
he
People
formed
live
them-
more than a year, Eric.
He formed them after he became the Ecclesiarch.
Sure. It might not be a span of difference like Marcus saying thousands of years.
I'm curious.
But it could be like
We do have dates of when different orders.
when those orders were done. But
Yeah.
Did
But
you guys
that
find
might-
a plot hole?
Uh-oh.
in
Games Workshop!
40K,
Burn it.
it's not perfect.
But yeah, we'll get into that a little more.
Sure.
It's all speculation on my part why there's 2. Like, we were going over it and we couldn't fully find out why they made 2.
No, it was difficult to see why.
Yeah. But anyways, yeah. So each order, there are major and minor orders. And these orders are broken up even further into... So you have an order that has orders in the order. So basically, you could have the order of the cleansing water of the orders hospital people of the covenant priores of the Adeptus Sororitas.
All right, I'm gonna say it now for real.
I said cleansing water pretty good.
That one was good, actually. It's the order of the cleansing water of the orders hospitaler of the convent prioris of the Adeptus Sororitas. So it gets a little crazy,
Yeah,
especially because they
especially
use
with-
the same word.
Yeah, order and orders, and they are two different things. Order is the major branch, and then each major branch has in it orders.
Yes.
So each individual order is overseen by a canonist superior. And for every 1,000 sisters that are led, or for every 1,000 sisters, there is then a canonist preceptor. And then for every 200 sisters, there's also a canonist commander.
Yeah, so the canonist itself is just a commander role, and then your specific designation as a canonist is just depends on how many sisters you're actually looking over.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Yeah, and they're pretty vague on these details, whether like...
Well, we found like a direct contradiction.
Yeah.
So
No, you didn't.
No, we
did.
did.
No, you didn't.
This one
The
actually we
censors
did.
will have a word with you.
But we couldn't find out exactly, like... So you have 1,000 sisters that are led by a preceptor, and then you have 200 sisters that are led by a commander. But we're not sure if, like... So in that 1,000 sisters, you actually have 5 commanders,
Yeah.
or if it's like you have 1,000 sisters, and then you only have 200 left, so you have a total of 1,200, so you have a preceptor and a commander. We're not totally
Or
sure.
they could share titles and be like,
Well, no,
you
because
are
one
both.
of them is allowed to oversee 1,000 sisters, and one of them is allowed to oversee 200
Right,
sisters. It is an actual rank, the
Yeah.
commander, preceptor, superior. That's an
Yeah.
actual thing. And then, because you can be a regular canoness,
Yeah.
and that's given control of like 1 or 2 squads.
right.
Or like, well, it was multiple. They said multiple squads because
yes.
it would just be a like a superior,
Multiples of one.
like a sister. It would just be a superior, a sister superior who is
Yeah.
in charge of one squad. But when you have multiple squads get together, less than 200, it's just going to be a canoness or a palatine, right?
Yeah.
So it wasn't super clear.
Yeah,
on
if
how
anyone
that
ever
organization works.
came out with any more details on that, let us know. I don't know.
Maybe the new codex will have that all for us.
Yeah, who knows? Yeah, so that's kind of every order has that same organization.
Even the non-military
Even-
ones.
yeah, exactly.
Which
And
was
that's-
interesting for us to learn. Is that like they have that same rigid structure and hierarchy,
Yeah.
even in like their orders that have only to do with the scholarly pursuits,
Yeah.
which was kind of cool to
Yeah.
think about.
No, absolutely.
Everything needs order. Order is part of life in the Imperium. To deviate from order is heresy. Heresy is a sin. Sin deserves death.
Hate leads to anger.
There's a lot of Star Wars quotes. Somebody should do a Star Wars podcast.
Nah, it's too big.
It
a
wouldn't have
market.
the audience.
It wouldn't. No one here knows enough about Star Wars to do a Star
I'll
Wars.
kill you,
podcast.
Eric. I'll kill you.
So let's talk about the minor orders. And we're actually not sure how many minor orders
Because they
there
don't
are.
say.
Oh, sorry. Technically, so when I'm saying minor orders, I'm actually saying minor order. Like, we're not sure how many order there are.
No.
It doesn't make any sense.
You've got it backwards.
You lost
the,
me.
It's definitely orders hospitaler.
No, but-
because within the orders
Yeah.
hospitaler, there's multiple of order.
Yeah, but we're
One order.
we're not sure how many minor or we're not sure if there's more orders than just 4 like
What's a plural of orders? Is it orders is?
No, it's orders with
Orders
an
I.
apostrophe.
Orders I.
yeah, like because right now like minor orders, we'll go into them and then I can make my point.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, you understand?
There's not
So-
there's not order that exists within an orders.
Yeah.
Okay.
For every order, there are multiple orders.
Yes.
But we're not sure how many order there are. There could be an infinite amount of minor order.
No.
Yes.
For every orders, there's
Yeah.
multiple orders. Because it's an orders militant.
Yes. No,
Right.
it's order.
No, it's not. It's orders.
Well, just
I'll
because
show you. I'll show you the page. I'll show you the
just
page we were
because
looking
that's
at.
how the way speech works.
No. I'll show you the page.
No, I believe you.
It's called the Orders Militant. The Orders
I know,
Hospitaller.
but that's because you wouldn't call it the Order Militant.
Whoever stabs each other first wins this argument.
It's one of the 6 major Orders Militant.
Yeah, that's just because of speech, and saying it the way I'm saying it is retarded. Like, if we go back up to our notes.
Okay, I'm not going to trust what we wrote down in notes. I'm going to trust what I'm staring at.
No, but Eric, come on. Don't make me fight you again. I hate fighting you.
It's not about fighting.
You are my brother.
They are called orders.
Star Wars.
You were meant to bring balance to the Force, not destroy it. No, it's like the Ordos. Like an Ordo is an actual thing, but they have
Not
the
in sense of the
Ordos-
battle.
But they have the Ordos Majoris.
No, they don't. They have the Order.
I'm talking about the Inquisition. They have the
Oh.
Ordos Majoris. They
Yes.
have the Ordo Malleus.
Yes.
But they are the Ordos. Just
Yes.
like these are the Orders Militant, and you have the Order of the Bloody
Yes,
Hand. And the
absolutely,
Order of
but-
so you have multiple.
You have the labia
The
majoris and the labia majori.
Okay, if you can't say it properly, don't
Don't say
even
it at all.
bother, Christian.
I don't know what it even is.
It's called the front hole.
It's not a hole.
I don't know what it is.
Anyways, we're arguing semantics.
Who
so,
cares?
Yeah.
So all I'm
know
trying
I'm
to
right.
say is I don't want any emails over how we said orders or orders, okay?
Well, it's order and orders.
Or
They
is
are
it
different.
multiple orders within an orders?
Can I get one order of fries, please?
No. Did you say multiple order of fries?
One order of fries.
Okay.
But okay, so let's go over some minor orders. Holy shit. So the Order of Sabine. And they're specialized in infiltrating primitive societies and indoctrinating them with the Imperial Creed. Like, it's very cool, actually.
Yeah, they'll like follow like missionaries and like
Yeah.
advanced troops, and like they'll go to human settlements that haven't seen any Imperial contact. And
Yeah.
they're like, hey, this is what the Imperial Creed is, and
Yeah.
this is the Emperor, and you should definitely drop your chaos worship and worship him.
Oh, and this is what will happen to you if you don't. Oh,
Bolt gun.
yeah. Opens up like a video feed. It's just like flaming fire and
An entire planet being razed.
exactly.
Bye-bye.
And that's really all we know about them, but that's enough, and it's very cool.
Yeah.
Next we have the Ordo Pronatus.
Pronatus? Pronatus?
Pronatus?
Pronatus?
Sure.
Who knows? It's a made-up word.
All things are.
Yeah, that's... Wait, what? Oh my god.
Not wrong.
Oh my god.
Language. How does it work?
It doesn't. And they are specialized in retrieving, guarding, studying, and repairing, as well as there's one other one that we missed, but anyways,
Really?
sorry. Yeah.
I thought I wrote them all down.
Okay, my bad. Sacred artifacts of the ecclesiarchy. So if there's like some sacred relic,
Yeah, like a saint.
yeah,
Like some saint they declared posthumously died on this planet. They have to go to that battlefield and like retrieve her cloak.
Would
or
this person
something.
be put in a tomb? And then would that tomb be raided by one of these sisters?
Why not?
well, potentially.
If it's a sacred
Would that
relic.
title be called a tomb raider, perhaps?
Maybe a tomb hunter.
Tomb hunter.
Or relic raider or something.
TM.
But yeah, like it's pretty cool. Like their study why like the effects of this sacred relic actually happen, because like the power of faith is actually a thing in 40K. Like the power of faith can actually have like a physical manifestation. If you got a bunch of people believing something,
Or sometimes not.
or sometimes not.
Or sometimes it fails.
But like
Beautifully.
yeah,
And you get murdered. In
But, like-
the millions.
yeah, like it can actually have like a physical impact. So like there might actually be like a holy goblet that when you drink from, you gain 5 years of life, and like people will study that because it might actually be a thing in 40K.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
And that
it's,
would be these guys.
yeah, or their repair stuff, their guard stuff.
They seem
but
like
it's-
archaeologists.
So I see what you're saying,
Kinda,
Mark.
yeah.
Because within the Orders Pronatus, there would be the Order of the Holy Goblet.
Yeah.
That is of the Orders Pronatus.
Yeah.
Because there's multiple Orders Pronatus.
Yeah.
Of the Convent Prioris.
Yes.
So it is an Orders Pronatus. It's not Order Pronatus. But the order existed within Pronatus is the Order of the Holy Goblet.
I'm gonna say yes.
Okay, cool.
That one just
Excellent. Let's
Too
go to
many.
the major orders.
so. Eric, you want to take one
Okay,
away?
so there are what, 4 major orders? Yes, there's 4 major orders, and let's talk about the Orders Hospitaller first. These guys are primarily surgeons, physicians, and nurses.
Well,
now,
Can I stop you for 1 second? You said guys.
Oh, sorry.
I know that's just like I call girls guys like when I walk into a room and there's
These
girls.
beautiful buxom women.
Yes, that's better.
Well, actually, no, because maybe this is where the non-buxom women go.
It's possible.
It's
You want the
They gotta go
buxom women
somewhere.
up front with all the
With
guardsmen.
a boot plate.
Yeah. So the guardsmen
Urging
rally
them
behind
on.
them.
Yes, of course.
Forward!
Get the booty. What kind? Your choice.
But yeah, just to clarify,
Of
when we do
course.
say guys, we're
These
meaning
are the women.
there is only women.
Yes, there
So,
are no guys
yeah.
here. These women are the surgeons, physicians, and nurses. They will only ever heal on the battlefield. That doesn't mean they don't heal in other places. It means that if they are on the battlefield, they do not partake in battle at all. They are only there to heal the wounded.
Yeah, they actually even take like an oath of nonviolence.
A very strict oath too,
Hippocratic oath,
which
some
is
might say.
kind of it is
Hippocratic oath.
100% Christian's totally right.
Not hypocritical, Hippocratic.
Oh, there we go. There's the difference. Language.
So an interesting thing is
Hypocritical
that
oath of the Sisters of Battle.
they are some. Well, it definitely is hypocritical.
And Eric's going to explain why.
It totally is hypocritical because every once in a while, an inquisitor will actually render their services for torture.
For the Inquisition.
Of
yeah.
course, which
Will
goes
do
against
no harm unless
Well, is that
sometimes
violence?
harm.
What is
Torture?
violence?
Yeah. Yes.
Torture is not violence. Are you saying
let me run
this right
something
now?
past you
Of
here.
course, Mark,
Let me
please.
just run out. Words have specific meanings.
Elucidate me.
Okay, so if I torture you, Eric, am I being violent about
Yes.
it?
Well, you can,
What if I'm saying
You are causing
singing
pain
is,
and distress.
Is that violent?
Are you
What is
causing
the
pain?
I
meaning
think it
of
depends on
violence?
how you are conducting this torture.
If I'm singing a song,
Right.
la, 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 everything's
For long
good,
enough. Yeah.
Well, that's not causing me pain or discomfort.
and then I rip
It
off your
might.
finger while I'm singing.
that is torture.
But is that violent?
The
That is
ripping,
violent,
ripping my
yes.
finger off?
It's
Absolutely.
violent.
But I
is
do it
violent.
very surgical.
That doesn't make it not violent. Doctors are literally called butchers.
Well,
So
I would
doctors
not
are
recommend
violent, then.
going to that doctor.
My doctor.
My doctor is called the butcher. The butcher of Nantucket.
That's what I call him. He doesn't like it, and our visits are always very short. And then he says, "Get a grip,
the
Eric."
butcher. Get out, Eric.
Aw, but my foot. And then he pulls out a huge knife and says, "What about it?"
But yeah, they are sometimes used for torture.
Yes. And we hypothesize that they're going to be used in every aspect of the Imperium minus a couple.
Yeah, like really the only one that they're not in is the Adeptus Astartes. But every other organization, they're there.
Yeah, as doctors.
yeah.
And
But we'll talk one more funny thing about them. They're equipped with power armor.
Yeah.
Well, on the battlefield, it makes sense.
Why?
Because you need to be able to survive.
yeah, you're getting
But
shot
so
at.
you're getting
yeah.
you have more protection than the guardsman whose actually job it is to be
okay,
in the
hold
line
on.
of fire.
Wait, hold on. They're completely different organizations. And so all sisters have power armor, so it makes sense that they would also have power
Right,
armor.
but not because like it's more just because that the church is ridiculously rich.
Right.
Not because
And also,
they-
there aren't as many sororitas as there are guardsmen. Like,
True.
the Imperium does not have the resurces to give every guardsman power armor. And it would also
They're just
Debatable.
showing
Would be
fucking favoritism
wasted.
to women.
yeah, just because they can't survive
Just 'cause they're
a missing
buxom.
arm.
But yeah, like their medical tool, it's the typical fucking Narcisium chainsaw.
It literally looks like they're going to war.
There's a
Yeah.
very medieval
But-
thing going
But
on.
it makes sense because one of the primary things when they do go to war, like in an active battle zone, they're going to be doing with their sisters. So they need that chainsaw gauntlet to
To
actually
rip into the power armor.
yeah, to open up power
Harvest
armor.
organ. I mean,
To sell so they can say "Rit." I mean,
to heal with this
for the
chainsaw.
healing science.
But that's them. But the one interesting thing, yeah, like they are in every organization. Like they will be in hospitals and whatever.
Yeah, and
doing
they might
everything.
not always be on the front lines, like
No,
you said.
like,
Like they could
they-
be
they're-
on a peaceful world, practicing medicine with the local population.
Yeah, exactly.
Free healthcare for everyone.
Well, not free. You better believe your tithes should be coming
Going
through.
back to the
And if
Emperor.
they don't, we're going to come.
All right, next order.
The orders famulus, and these guys are these women.
Sorry, the Ordo
You can
Fabulous.
just keep saying guys. It's fine.
No,
I'm gonna
Mark,
say it too.
You're gonna correct me. And
no, I'm
gonna
not.
Feel,
Just one time.
I would not like to do that disservice to all
these
the
brave
women,
women.
who lay down their lives.
Much courage.
These orders
So
famulus,
brave.
These women are diplomats.
Stunning. That's another good one.
The Ordo's Fabulous.
They are diplomats, advisors, and chamberlains with an excellent knowledge of imperial bloodlines.
Yeah, and they're usually they usually will determine like who is in charge of ruling planets and stuff. Not really, but they follow bloodlines.
Yeah,
and, like,
they
They
can
will
trace it
help
out.
you
Yeah.
determine the correct.
they will settle disputes.
Yeah, try and prevent like a local civil war
Yeah.
where like, no, my dad was king. Oh, my
Yeah.
dad is king.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Something that I saw was
You turn that on. No, it's fine. Just let it go. If you hear some burning in the background,
Eric's currently burning
Sorry.
a heretic.
yeah.
Sorry.
again.
Eric's poor throat is sore.
Fuck off.
He needs to drink his tea.
You need to call the Ordo's Hospitaller.
I do.
They'll heal that right up. Someone has a sore throat, we'll just tear it right out.
Can't be sore if it's not there.
Something that was interesting about the Orders Famulus is that they are commonly employed by Thorian inquisitors.
And Thorian was like a specific belief of an inquisitor.
Yeah, they were Puritan inquisitors that believed the Emperor's spirit could be transferred into another host. So I didn't really understand the connection that they made.
So here's my connection. Once upon a time, there was such thing as like the Emperor actually having children and stuff.
Yes.
I don't know if that's still a thing.
I don't think it's technically still canon, but it's
So
floating in the ether.
yeah, and
The
this
sensei.
Yeah, exactly. So these know like bloodlines and stuff.
They try
so
to trace the
actually,
sensei.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm trying to say.
Were you the offspring
Okay.
of the Emperor's
So
long
it's a
begotten line?
throwback.
Yeah,
Yeah,
'cause
it's almost like, what's that Dan Brown? Is it Dan? Not Dan Brown.
Dan Abnett?
No.
Dan Hardman.
No. Oh my
Dan,
gosh.
email Dan.
The guy who did the whole thing about the Jesus bloodline.
That's Dan Brown.
Mary.
Dan Brown.
Is it Dan Brown?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Isn't there a magician also named Dan Brown?
No, that's
No,
Dan.
Darren Brown.
Oh.
Anyways.
What we're saying is
Yeah.
there's too many Browns in the world.
Whoa! Yes!
The last name. The last name. Oh my gosh, you guys are ridiculous.
Hey, Eric's put Stalin in this. Too many Browns.
Wow. It is not. Whatever.
That
A lot
is
of
what you
truth coming
said.
out here. A lot of deep-seated
You
things.
guys are the worst.
But yeah, so like that's why.
I love women.
Trace the lineage.
Yeah. All right, so
This
that's
is where I
that
get
order.
super apologetic and start just saying ridiculous things to prove that I'm not that person. I gave all my money to women.
No, they just take your money if you date them.
Oh yeah.
On that note, I pissed off Eric pretty good this week. I was siphoning my side job cash through Lorehammer's bank account, trying to keep it
I
secret
love
from
this.
from the wife. Because normally when I do a side job, I get cash and I could go buy Warhammer. But I wanted to buy something online, so I
You're
don't have
laundering
a,
money through Laura.
yeah, I don't have a credit card. I didn't want to ask the wife for hers, so I laundered it through the Lorehammer account. And Eric's seen like, why are you spending our fucking money? I didn't say that, but I'm pretending.
I want
that
to
he
break
did.
your legs.
Yeah. I'm like, no, Eric, please, I have cash. But he didn't listen. He just kept coming.
I broke his fucking leg.
Yeah.
No, actually, I got Johnny to do it. I sent Johnny over with a big steel pipe. Bent a couple legs back.
It almost sounded gay for a second.
You wanna fuck with me? You fuck with Johnny.
Eric's mobster is gay. He's gay Tony.
What about it, huh? Come over here. I'll show you just what that means.
But having the conclusion of that is Eric took my money and put it in the Lorehammer account, as he's one to do. So
And then pretend it didn't exist anymore.
Better not
What
spend-
money?
Yeah. And it's gone.
oh, you bankers.
The banks are like real crooks here. Yeah.
So that,
the
if ever you're
communists.
wondering what we do with our Lorehammer money, I just use it to siphon my side job electrical money.
Guys, no, it's not true. It's pretty much true. No, it's not.
But it goes to a good cause. It goes back into Warhammer. So.
Yeah. So the next order.
Okay, hold on.
What?
It does not go to Warhammer. It goes to Lorehammer.
But then it goes to Warhammer.
No. No Lorehammer
That's what it
money.
should go to.
No, right.
But what it
the money he
does
launders
go
through
to-
Lorehammer
Oh,
goes
yes,
to Warhammer.
Yes.
No Lorehammer money has ever been spent on Mark's personal Warhammer.
No, except for that one time.
What do you mean that one?
That Titan time.
No, you're right.
I just wanted to make that
Please
clear.
continue to send me us money.
Oh boy. All right.
Next order.
Let's talk about the Orders Dialogus.
They are experts in language and scholarly activities. And what's crazy about them is they can translate like heretical isn't that crazy. Pius isn't that crazy, but Xenos
It was very interesting.
Yeah, they can actually translate some Xenos languages.
It's useful when you're hunting them.
Yeah, but it was interesting that wasn't even like a purview of the Ordo Xenos. Like nothing in the Ordo Xenos was like,
Right.
yes.
And they might call one of these ladies over to be like, hey, we need something
Exactly.
translated.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yes,
That
I
it was.
specialize in ancient Eldar speak.
Yeah. It's crazy that this is like a major organization, but when you think about like how many different planets are
Dialects.
with dialects,
Yeah.
like you would need
Yeah, like on Earth alone is insane already.
Exactly. So
Like,
like
on
when
a
I first
galactic
thought
level.
about it, but then on a galactic, it's necessary, and this is why it's an order for sure.
Especially when
A
you
major.
don't have like a uniform language that even the common Imperial citizen may speak, right? They might
Yeah.
know High and Low Gothic,
Yeah.
but like you could have that tribal world that doesn't
Yeah.
even know any Gothic, or
Yeah.
just how it says point towards enemy. That's all the words you need to know.
Yeah.
You're good to go. You're recruited into the guard.
Yeah.
Welcome to the guys.
Don't eat Claymore mines. It has to be said.
That's
It has to be printed on it because somebody somewhere ate it, put a Claymore mine in their mouth and thought it was a good idea.
Oh gosh.
Warning labels are there for a reason, and you need to be able to read them in whatever language they're printed in.
Jeez. Okay, so now let's talk about the
most
Ordos-
important
the
one.
most important, and that is the actual orders militant, the Sisters of Battle.
The purpose of the Sisters of Battle is they are the military branch of the ecclesiarchy. They work around the decree passive, which is no men at arms. Obviously, we already talked about that. And they usually attend the wars of faith, which the church declares against heretical things.
Yeah, like they even declare wars of faith against other ecclesiarchical members if they diverge too far.
Yeah.
Down
And if they
there.
have enough influence to like, oh, this whole sector, this whole world, or
Yeah.
these group of worlds is going
Yeah.
deviant.
So they use the Sisters of Battle in a lot of their self-regulating, self-authority purposes or
But
whatever.
they also join in other crusades against Xenos and other
Yeah.
chaos. And
Well, I mean, like anyone could the Inquisition can requisition them.
Yeah, so there are two things, like wars of faith and typical crusades are different things.
right.
Just
Yes,
to clarify.
The Adeptus Ministorum will set 2 crusades. The High Lords of Terra.
Yeah.
They'll determine crusades.
Yeah.
Right.
And then the Ecclesiarch will determine wars of faith.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes they overlap.
Of
Sometimes
course.
they don't.
Their goals might be the same.
Yeah.
Right?
Sometimes it might be a Sororitas only operation where it's like the High Lords didn't even know about this, but
Yeah.
we're gonna go start a war with these orcs.
Yeah. But the Sisters of Battle are also the militant branch of the Ordo Hereticus, and they will be called upon to... Both you losers are giving me the look, but
I
What?
sincerely disagree. They are not part of the Inquisition at all.
yeah, just like the Grey Knights aren't, just like the Death Watch aren't, but they are.
I'm not-
It's a thing.
Okay, so they're
It's a thing.
out of the lore for a second.
Okay, sure.
It is disputed where they fall because sometimes they're portrayed as being the militant branch of the Inquisition. Sometimes they're portrayed as being the militant arm of the church.
You can be both.
Right. I'm not saying
Who
one
has the
way.
ultimate
I'm not
authority?
saying one way or the other. I'm just saying this is like a bigger argument that's happened because I think
Yes.
one codex might say one thing and then in the next edition they
Yes.
say something different and then the next edition they flip flop back and forth.
Yeah. But
Or maybe they're both. Maybe they're not. Maybe they're neither. Maybe they're their own thing.
honestly,
I don't know.
they're both. They're both. Like
Yeah, I agree. I agree. But they're both.
no, but they are both.
That's your opinion. Based on the research you've done, you believe they're both. I believe that they are a part of the ecclesiarchy.
Oh yeah, they are a part of the
And the
ecclesiarchy.
ecclesiarchy tells them where to go, and the
Yep.
Inquisition goes to the ecclesiarchy to
Yep.
request
Yep.
them, which
Sure.
means they're
Just like when you go to the Grey Knights, you
you
go,
go
to
just to the Grey Knights.
yeah,
you don't
but
go.
the Grey Knights are not a part of the Ordo Malleus. They're the
The Grey
militant
Knights,
branch.
but the Grey Knights have no greater authority. They are their own authority.
Sure, but
That's the difference.
the ecclesiarchy
Is
and
the authority over the Sisters of Battle. The Grey
yeah.
Knights have
so
no authority
it's the same organization. So why does it matter?
because they're part of the ecclesiarchy.
They are.
Yes.
But that doesn't mean that they're not the Ordo militant branch of the Ordo Hereticus. Because they are, and they have been. That's a thing. Why do people fight this so hard? I don't get it.
Why do you fight against
I'm
it
not
so
fighting
hard?
it.
Because it's a thing.
And it's not
you
a
can,
thing.
You can be two things at once. And if you go
Or
to
you could just be one.
and if you go to the
It's just your opinion. I
no,
don't
it's
think-
not my opinion. It's if you go to the sources, that's what it says. If you click on the Ordo Hereticus, the militant branch is the Sisters of Battle.
Would
They
you
are
trust?
also-
Would you trust Lexicanum smart word mark?
I trust no one.
That's what I thought, actually. The Adeptus Sororitas are an all-female subdivision
No,
of the
go-
religious
go-
organization known as the Ecclesiarchy.
Yes, but now go to the Ordo Hereticus.
The Sisters Order's militant serves as the Ecclesiarchy's fighting arm, mercilessly
Absolutely.
rooting out corruption and heresy within
You can do
humanity.
both things.
Okay, so that's right on the...
Now go to the
Adeptus
Ordo
Sororitas.
Hereticus.
Okay, let's go to them.
Fuck.
Which I'm having trouble finding. It's not even
I know what
listed
you're
on
saying,
this
Christian.
page.
Depending on
I'm just saying
different
it's a
codexes-
debate, yeah.
I know. Depending on
I'm not
different
saying I
codexes,
even
it
agree
has
with one way or
gone
the other.
back and forth.
So if you
a
can
couple
agree that
times.
it's a debate and it's not something that's set in stone, can you agree that we can have different opinions on
No.
it?
yeah, sure.
There
You
can never
can
be.
We're having
There
different
can never be
opinions.
compromise.
That's all
No,
I'm
no.
saying. Is I have
Compromise
no
is
problem
failure.
with you saying what
Failure
you
is
say.
heresy.
Sure.
Heresy is
I have
dead.
no problem
no.
with you believing that. I just
Sure.
believe something different because there's nothing saying that everything else is retcon and this is the only one that exists now.
Oh,
That's
sure.
all I'm saying.
I just don't understand why. Just
Give it a few months. I'm sure the next codex will
Oh, yeah.
clarify
Yeah.
everything we need to know about
Yeah.
anything,
And
and
exactly.
will never lead to another debate again. I'm sure that's exactly what's going to happen, and we'll be satisfied with the unit
like
rules.
in no spot has it ever said that they're not that. At some parts they might have omitted it or like just not even mentioned it, but they've never said that they're not. And they have said multiple times that they are. Therefore, they are. Until they are said to not be, they are.
Guilty until proven innocent. Interesting.
Well, all the evidence points to that they are.
Well, actually, all the evidence points to the fact that they're part of the Ecclesiarchy.
They are. You can do
We're
both
done.
things.
We are done.
Yeah. Anyways, you can do both things. Pair
Actually,
them.
we're not done. I told you.
Literally the whole
First one to draw blood is the one that wins an argument.
Okay,
It won't
literally
be
the
I'm weak
whole
today.
reason why we're talking about the Sisters of Battle and the Ordo Hereticus is because the Ordo Hereticus
I
will
want to say
call
I was
upon
initially
the Sisters of
opposed
Battle.
to that.
They'll
I
call
think they
upon
believe
them.
on an Ecclesiarchy episode, but whatever. I'm not part of this podcast, apparently.
Well, you're not. Jordan,
yeah.
tell him. Tell
You're
him.
not, Chris.
Belittle his haircut.
Your haircut sucks.
All right. So here's what Lexicanum does say about it.
Yeah.
Just because I read mine, so I'll read yours.
Sure.
The Ordo Hereticus is one of the three major orders of the Inquisition. Their specific role is protecting mankind from itself by combating such internal threats as treason, blah, 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 blah. They are aided militarily by the Adeptus Ministorum's Sisters of Battle.
So wouldn't that imply that they're the militant?
Are they
branch?
aided by the Imperial Guard
Sure.
and PDFs
Sure.
and the Fraterus Militia or whatever they're called? But those are not also part of the Inquisition. That's all I like.
Right.
Sure.
Like it's the main force they draw from, absolutely.
Okay.
because it's the easiest
So-
one because they're so
So
intertwined.
yeah. Sure. Sure.
you don't care. You don't give
No.
a shit.
No. I agree with you to some degree, and then I disagree with
Enough
you.
to end the conversation.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
That will flare up
fucked.
in 5 days
We're
from
fucked,
now.
Mark.
It's actually funny, like how often we get comments like, "I love when you and Eric just yell at each other." It's like, why the fuck would people like that?
Yeah.
That's a horrible experience
This
for
podcast
both
is
of us.
literally ruining our friendship. I don't go over to his house anymore. I can't stand it. All he does is yell at me.
First thing he says when he opens the door, you
You
haven't seen each other in
motherfucker.
days. They are not a militant branch.
All right.
Okay, let's talk about the founding. Okay, so the founding we kind of talked about. They were the brides of the emperor. Goach Vandire convinces them to be his bodyguard. There's a custode in the... Is it in the sewers of the Imperial Palace?
I think they say like secret passageways that only the custodes know about because the custodes know every aspect of
Terra.
Of Terra.
Yeah. But
It's like they're-
it's the Imperial Palace that they're at, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
I mean, even that's changed. But
so
whatever.
some custodes meet the leader of the Daughters of the Emperor at that time, Alicia Dominica, and he shows her the light and how terrible Goad really is. She's like, oh my god, what have I done? And she chops off Goad Vandire's head, and voila, the Age of Apostasy is done.
Yeah.
After that, they form the Brides of the Emperor. They go back to calling themselves that?
No.
Fuck, I never remember what the original one was.
The original
Daughters?
was daughters, then
Okay.
they become the brides.
Okay, so they call
And then
they
become sisters.
Yes, they go back
a lot
to
of
calling
incest going on.
they go back to calling themselves the Daughters of the Emperor actually, and then they go to the
Into
Sisters
Sisters.
of Battle.
Yeah, when they
Yes.
reorganize everything.
into the as part of the Adeptus Sororitas.
But when they do reorganize it, they end up making 4 major militant branches, 4 major orders.
Wait, did we do this already?
No.
No, orders and orders is.
These are the orders of the orders militant.
Okay.
Because you got to look at the primary order as order, not plural.
Oh, we're not getting back into this.
Honestly, if you look at everything, there's never once where it says order militant in any of the texts we ever read. Even on that chart we looked at, it's orders militant.
It's because it's plural.
It's an orders militant.
Because it's plural.
It's unorders. It's not the orders militant. It's
because it's in a pseudo-Latin.
whatever. It's not English. That's my excuse for everything.
But, so the 4 major militant branches are the Order of the Ebon Chalice, the Order of the Valorous Heart, the Order of the Fiery Heart, and the Order of the Argent Shroud.
Yeah, and these were actually created
In M36.
Yeah.
And
these are created by Ecclesiarch Alexis the 22nd, who was the predecessor of Sebastian Thor. So he...
predecessor is Alicia Dominica.
What?
Yeah.
No. Alexius is the
Oh,
space
no,
pope.
sorry, you're right.
Yeah,
My
he's a
bad.
space
Yeah.
pope.
My bad.
Yeah, Alexis was a space pope.
Also,
and-
is predecessor the word you want to use?
no. What's the one that
Predecessor
comes after?
is,
yes, you're right. What is the one that comes
previous.
after?
Predecessor.
A pradicutor. What's the one that comes after?
I don't know.
All right, whatever.
Successor.
Yes,
Successor.
that's
Thank you.
Wow. When you get one up by Mark in language,
It's because
That's a bad thing.
Yeah,
English
Sebastian
classes.
Thor's successor
Those
actually
Russian classes.
divides the orders militant into these 4 orders.
Yeah.
And then 2,000 years later, Ecclesiarch Deacus VI actually adds 2 more of these orders militant.
Yeah.
So is this what you were talking about with the 2 different convents?
yeah, and this is why.
Because Sebastian Thor creates both of the convents. And
So-
this is
so-
done 2,000 years later by something
Yeah,
completely
so
different.
like,
No
yeah,
reason.
it's silly.
It's got to be the distribution of power because you leave one with the head of the church on Ophelia 7,
Yeah.
and you leave one on Terra
Yeah.
where the Ministorum actually can,
Yeah.
the Administratum can actually look after it.
Yeah, because it says that both orders or both covenants have the same orders. Convents have the same orders in it.
Oh, yeah, they
But
both have
the-
an orders militant and they both have an
But
orders.
the one on Ophelia didn't have an orders militant until M38.
That's not true.
Yes.
Nope.
Yes.
Nope.
Yes.
At all. So in the one on Ophelia, do you know what orders militant they have?
Or
Because
is
each
the,
one has 3. And
No,
so
no. Each one is
each one has 3 orders.
what?
Of the orders militant, there's 6 in total.
Are there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So each
And
one has 3, but only 2 were added at the end. So that means it had at least 1.
Are you sure that's a breakdown of it?
100%.
What if there was 2 at each, and then they
Nope.
both added 1 and 1?
Then they still would have had orders militant on
Yeah.
Prioris and
I
Sanctorum.
thought
They
one
had
had
6
4
on one,
I
and then
thought
they
one had
moved
4,
one
had
over.
No.
2.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nope.
Wow. Sister Battle. They're
Complicated.
Everything in 40K. What in 40K is not complicated? Even las guns, I don't know. They're supposed to just be flashlights, and I still don't get it.
So those are the major 6 ones. I don't know if you read them. The Order of the Bloody Rose and the Order of the Sacred.
Oh yeah, I didn't even. Those are the
Rose.
2 that were added after the Bloody Rose and the Sacred Rose.
And there's reasons why they're called what they're called, obviously, and yeah, whatever.
It's almost like breaking it down into Space Marine chapters. Like you have to
essentially, yeah.
Yep.
dive into each one, and another episode
Yeah.
later, blah blah blah.
But there are also lesser orders militant. Like some will be founded just to like watch a specific cathedral on some far backwatered world.
But they all come from a major,
Yeah,
like
exactly.
one of these 6
Yeah.
orders.
it's like a founding chapter, a founding legion breaking down into smaller chapters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is definitely the easiest way to look at it.
But now we have to explain those. Oh,
No.
what's a legion?
I think we have.
What's a chapter?
So we'll talk about the training that Sisters of Battle actually get. Because the Sisters of Battle actually are subject to intense physical and tactical training. Like they are very
abuse.
yeah,
both.
Well,
Eh.
they're very competent warriors. Like on the tabletop, their weapon skill and ballistic skill is 3+. A guardsman is 4+.
Yeah, like they were.
They are
I mean,
17% better.
they've been indoctrinated since youth, essentially, because
Yeah.
they go to the Scala first, and then they get trained there in whatever they
Yeah.
get trained in, and then they get subdivided again into the military arm.
Well, it's-
and like all they're gonna do is combat, since
Yeah.
being again a kid.
yeah.
But they also have, because the church is so rich, they have access to like amazing like
War gear and
Yes.
training opportunities. And
absolutely
everything.
way
Yeah.
better than any PDF or IG is gonna have.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll talk more about their war gear later, but yeah, like in my opinion, each sister is better than the average guardsman. Like,
Well, yeah, anyone that's trained from birth to fight is probably
Yeah,
going
and,
to
like,
be better than.
then you factor in their war gear, like
Yeah, dude. Yeah, exactly.
yeah, they're equipped with power armor and bolters, like Space Marine war gear.
Yeah.
So even if you put a regular guardsman in that armor, they'd be better than a regular guardsman.
Yeah.
But yeah. So the organization, we'll talk about that next. So at the head of each order, there was that whole canonist thing that we were talking about, canonist preceptor, canonist commanders, and all of that.
Superiors.
Yeah. But in the Sister of Battle, the Order Militant, they also have a Palatine, which is basically like, it's kind of more of like an honorary rank or like a commander rank. It's not
It
necessarily
is a
like,
commander rank
yeah.
without being a canonist.
Exactly. It's a sub-commander rank, essentially. So if you only have one squad of Sister of Battle, they might be led then by a Palatine.
More likely a sister superior.
Well, like, you would have a Sister Superior and a Palatine.
And then
you
a
would have
sister
both.
inferior.
Like,
That's how you'd see that?
yeah. Yeah. Maybe one squad is a little too small, but if you have two squads, there's definitely then a
And
Palatine.
you never know, right? Like, yes,
Yeah.
for two squads, of course.
Then
'cause
there's a Palatine.
Yeah, because even if both have a sister superior
Yeah.
who's in charge, your palatine is. And at
Exactly.
any point, a canonist can come step in and relieve the palatine.
And that Palatine actually could be a Sister Superior.
could
like,
be. But
'cause
in
it's
the
just like-
moment, she's given the rank of palatine.
Exactly.
Yeah. Everything is so rocky when it comes to the Imperium anyway.
Yeah.
Who knows?
So underneath the Palatine, you have Sister Superiors, and they're basically like your sergeants, or they'll lead a squad. And then underneath them, you have just Sisters of Battle.
Sisters inferiors. I like the color.
Yeah. No, that would be mark naming convention. Right there. Men at Arms, Soldiers at Arms. But yeah, so let's talk about their squads. So they have a number of different squads, depending on purposes. They'll call upon different squads and build their army like that. But their veterans are called Celestines, and they're what?
Huh?
You went like you did made a look at me.
I didn't look at you.
You jerked your head like you was.
I don't know. I would have done Celestian.
Yeah, Celestian.
Oh, sure.
Celestials,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I just don't want another emo.
But yeah, they're the most skilled fighters within an order. They're your veterans.
Yeah.
But their duties are sometimes as bodyguards to canonesses or palatines, or also they are just like the spearhead of your army. They'll be the center of your army where everybody else is like, they'll be the spear point. Yeah,
Tip of the spear.
exactly.
Edge of the scalpel.
They also have what they
Prick
call
of the needle.
Okay, that's
Poke of the dick.
No. They don't have any.
Seraphim, and these women are
Beautiful. Buxom women.
all of them are very buxom, actually.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
It's not a requirement.
And they got
Well, no, because they can enhance them later.
Yes, I'm
Space
sure
Marines go-
all this money and power, and the thing that they choose to modify is the size of their boobs that probably aren't even going to get used.
that and lipstick. Each Sister Battle has lipstick.
and hair dye.
Copious lipstick and white hair dye.
It's bleach, Christian.
Just pour it on because they're so tough. They just dump it on their heads.
Oh, you
part of
bleach
their-
for breakfast. Anyway, so the Seraphim are trained in using jump packs. Another interesting thing about them is they primarily will use 2 pistols, which makes them a nightmare in close combat as opposed to 2 chainswords. I don't know. They're supposed to be very effective in close combat at
Close
very
range.
closer
Close
range.
range.
Yeah.
Yeah, you use your jump back to get in close, and then you're yeah.
Jango
with
fed
your
them to death.
They'll
pistols.
also have like the Sister Superior will have usually like a power weapon, but other than that, they all use 2 pistols. Like there's none of them are using like a Melta gun. They're using Inferno pistols, Melta pistols.
The gunslingers.
Yeah,
Space gunslingers.
they're very cool.
Space women gunslingers
bounty hunters.
in armor.
The next squad are Dominions, and they're trained in close range special weaponry. Like we'll talk about it a little more, but Sisters Battle, they love 2 weapons. They love flamers and they love meltas, both very close range. So this squad is equipped with a bunch of flamers and a bunch of meltas. I think it's on tabletop, it's 4. You can have 4 of them for every 10 sisters you have. So if you have 10 sisters, 4 of them are equipped with
Yeah.
these. But they're usually chosen for this duty, because they're like super aggressive. They're known to be.
That's
They're
terrifying.
they're perma period. They're just constantly raging.
PMSing is the word you're looking for.
Oh, is that a word?
He just says his wife is on a perma period.
Yeah, and they're just a special weapon squad essentially that's highly aggressive. We also have retributors, and they are trained in the use of heavy weapons, so they'll provide support for the rest of the army. And they'll be equipped with heavy flamers and multi-meltas.
Yeah.
They'll also have heavy
They
bolters.
can take heavy
but-
bolters.
Yeah,
Is
they
it
also have heavy
weird that
bolters.
my brain went to, heavy flamers and heavy meltas. That's the one they have.
But yeah, and then they have their like rank and file, which are just sister of the battle, and that'll usually have one special weapon, one heavy. It's kind of the typical like it can meet any.
Yeah, it's
any
tactically
threat.
flexible,
Yeah, exactly.
just like me.
Yeah.
Nothing about you is technically flexible.
And the last thing, the last thing that they have are sisters Repenta, and they are sisters that have fallen or have done some disgrace during combat or even
Yeah.
off times or whatever.
And it could be pretty vague. Like, we're not talking they've gone full-blown heresy
No.
here.
No,
We're
no,
talking
no.
like they've dishonored themselves.
Yeah,
It cannot be a full blown heresy. It
No.
has to be some. There has to
Yeah.
be. It has to be something bad enough to do this, but not
Yeah,
bad enough that they cannot absolve themselves.
maybe their failure led to like a special relic getting taken back.
Yeah, exactly. Or they were told to take that hill and they weren't able to take it.
Yeah, or maybe they even like retreated in a battle or something. Who knows? It could
Exactly.
Be.
Yeah, but it's definitely not like
It's not a full blown
heretical-
heresy. No.
No.
I have full-blown heresy on my. I need to see a doctor.
My butcher.
My butcher.
And
Peeves.
they're the outcasts, and yet they're very revered amongst their sisters because they're repentant, as in their name. Like it's a sign of like they're trying to do better. They're gonna
piety.
they're gonna redeem themselves. But until they do, you guys stay over there.
Exactly. Yeah.
And they traditionally shave their heads. And
We're gonna get into that.
Okay, well, I'm sorry. I'm getting ahead of myself.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's my thing or anything. I'm just saying.
What,
I really want to talk
heads?
about it.
And they're all equipped with eviscerator chainswords, which are basically just massive two-handed chainswords, and they're basically just told to run at the enemy, and if you survive, great, you might consider yourself redeemed, or maybe not.
Yeah.
Yeah. In some cases, it might just be death. Like I'm doing
Yeah.
this until I get killed.
Exactly, and in the death, I will be redeemed.
Yeah.
But
Your soul will
they
go to
are
the Emperor.
they are known to be able to actually like
Come
be redeemed.
Yeah, and they can
join back
join
to
back
the
into
squad.
the sisterhood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They are spurred on by the Repenta Mistress, and she's equipped with neural whips, sexy neural whips. if you look at the models, like
There's a very strong BDSM.
yeah, and I'm sure
Oh,
people
yes.
get like. I'll talk more about it when we talk about what we want from the upcoming Sisters Codex.
Mark wants more of this.
No, I just hope they don't go away with it. We'll talk more about it later.
Sure. Sure. Cool.
So we actually found the oath of
The Oath of the Penitent.
yeah. So we're gonna read that out for you now here.
Because we need it. We need it bad.
So what we'll do is we're actually all going to assume roles.
Yes.
In this, Mark, you will actually be the penitent.
Okay.
Oh, I thought this was sub-dom kind of stuff.
I thought we were role playing
You will
here.
be the submissive. And then Christian, Jordan, and I, we will play members of the squad. And then Jordan, lastly, is also going to play the part of the officer.
And you're gonna also play the narrator.
I will play the narrator. But in this, as we assume our roles, we just hope you guys enjoy this little bit of fun. So, Mark, why don't you just take it away?
Let me just set the scene for you here. So we're in this cathedral. It's very dark, only illuminated by candles. Okay, there's like in this case, there's only 4 sisters of battle just standing there. 3 of them on one side, and they're looking at the other one. There's like a statue of the emperor behind the 3 sisters of battle, and the one sister is down on her knees. Uh-oh.
Where's the whip?
Get the no.
It's coming. Don't worry.
I am far from absolution, lost to any exploitation. I offer myself to repentance before the emperor I have sinned, beyond forgiveness, beyond forbearance, beyond mercy.
The squad members take the penitent's war gear and cast it aside. They use the remnants of robes to roughly clothe the penitent. We turn our backs upon you. We cast off your armor and your arms.
I leave this company of my own free will, and by my will shall I return. I shall seek the Emperor's forgiveness in this darkness, places of night.
The penitent's hair is roughly shorn with a knife. When forgiveness is yours, we shall welcome you back. Until such time you are nameless to us.
See me, and do not see me. Know me, and no fear, for I have no face today but this one. I stand before you, a sister repenter, until absolution finds me once more.
So shall it be.
And scene.
Guys, I'm crying.
That was beautiful. That was absolutely wow. I say we all join the theater. The theater. I'm ready to call it the theater now.
But yeah, no, it's a very cool like picture in that they actually have like those oaths. It always just adds such character.
Very ceremonial
Yeah.
and like
And like so the Sisters Repenta, they disband all their armor, like they said, and like they're only like wearing like this ripped cloth.
Yeah, they would rip up their robes and then bind them back on her. So it's just this like super. You look like a mess.
Yeah,
really. Your
exactly.
hair is chopped up with a knife. And
Yeah,
you,
and if you look at the models, they're supposed to look very sexy, but like really
welcome
like
to Games Workshop. It's
okay.
But well,
This could be like an off-topic conversation. Like, do they look sexy, or is it just something that people see because they're
and
naked
that's what I'm
women,
gonna say.
right?
Like, if you look at the lore behind why they're doing it, they've done something that they cannot forgive themselves of. So they're taking off like who they are, and like they're bringing themselves to the lowest point.
yeah,
And like
people just turn it into a sex thing, but it doesn't have to be.
It doesn't have to
It
be
doesn't?
at all.
Yeah, just because it's
No.
women, it doesn't have to be sexy.
Exactly.
Weird.
And we'll talk more about that
Yeah.
at the end.
And
of
it comes from like
episode.
real traditions and real like,
Yeah.
faiths and things.
Yeah.
Where, like they tear their clothes as a sign of like
mourning
or-
and
and things like that. And
Yeah.
it like even there's a lot of real life stuff that's taken from it. It's like
yeah.
it's only sexy if you're weird.
Yeah, like if
you're,
we read
deviant.
that whole ceremony in male voices, like
Yeah.
that would be awesome. Like, would we sexualize it? Christian and Eric might. Me and Jordan is straight gender, you know. But anywho,
I sexualize everything. Though.
This is true, and that's why you're a deviant.
all right, let's talk about their armory. Sisters of Battle, they have a couple key things that like everybody has unique things that make them who they are. Like if you look at Imperial Guardsmen, you think of las guns and or flak armor. You know, like you think
And death.
and death. You think of corpses. You know,
Millions of corpses.
yeah. Each faction has kind of their own unique thing, and what makes the Sisters of Battle like unique is they're all equipped in like super highly stylized power armor. Like it's very ornate. It shows like the wealth of the church and
Yeah.
like its ornatry and like the whole gothic grim look.
Yeah.
really comes through in
Sell
their armor.
sell helmets.
Yeah.
I like it.
Oof. They're also all equipped with bolters, which is like crazy. Like
Yeah.
Space
Again,
Marine
you're
level
talking
of war gear.
You're talking the expense of this war gear, right?
Yeah.
Like they're a very good weapon. That's why the Space Marines use it, and the church actually can afford to give it to the sisters.
Yeah. Another thing to note too about the bolter is it's super hard to maintain.
Yeah.
And it shows the dedication, skill, and training of Sisters of Battle. Even just that they have bolters, they know how to maintain them to some degree. Like obviously,
At some point, you're going to need a tech priest to come
yes,
in, right?
yes.
Like,
But the average guardsman, the reason why they don't use bolters is because they're expensive, but
Yeah.
also because they're hard to maintain.
yeah.
And they don't give them any training. So
Yeah,
Well, some.
yeah.
I'm
But
doing an Imperial Guard episode.
we mentioned it earlier too, like with the Ordo Hereticus, there's that strong theme of burning the witch and flame and purity and all that, and it gets tied back in with the Sisters of Battle as well. Like their special weapons or anything that has to do with flame or melt attack. Yeah, like they just love to burn stuff.
well,
of
that's how you
pyros.
cleanse
Bunch-
things.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly it. Either you burn and you're cleansed, or you don't burn and you're a witch, in which
We'll burn you more.
exactly.
Either way, you're guilty.
Yeah.
No, either way, you're going to burn.
But they also have other weapons, like they have heavy bolters, and they got a couple, like they have chain swords and power swords, and they have stuff. But that's the iconic like Sister of Battle to me. Is like,
If you had an entire Sisters of Battle army and you didn't take a single melted gun or flamer, I'd be like, well, that's a weird army.
yeah,
It wouldn't fit.
yeah, exactly. But they do have two other special weapons that are uniquely for them.
Yeah. Well, they have a couple, but these are the
Sure.
ones we want to talk about.
Yeah. The one is called the Exorcist Launcher, and basically this is
All right. Let me describe it to you.
paint a word picture for me.
All right, guys. You know when you go into like you see those crazy churches and they have like the 100 organ pipe in like the background, just this massive
100
thing.
organ pipe.
100 pipe organ.
One pipe, 100 organs.
What is it made of? People.
A 100 pipe organ. It's in the back of this church. Now chop off all those pipes and put them in the same positions on the back of a rhino,
Yeah.
and that is the launchers of the missiles.
Yeah. So now when you hit the keyboard and you're playing this majestic
This opus,
symphony,
just yeah, these
it's actually
missiles are just shooting off of the rhino.
and it creates like a barrage type weapon.
Yeah.
It's the craziest thing.
It looks ridiculous.
It's an organ on the back of a tank, people. This is what we're talking about here.
Yeah.
Kind of reminds me of like Mad Max.
Oh,
yeah, very much.
Yes. Yeah.
Just Catholic.
But less
Catholic Mad
less
Max.
Less rock
dirty.
and roll, more Catholic.
The other thing they have are blessed weapons.
Yeah, so this is something that the ecclesiarch will specifically give to some members of the Orders Militant, and all of the blessed weapons they have are like very well known.
Yeah.
because they don't exist.
They're those relics or whatever, and
Yeah, exactly. But they'll let them use it. They have like a specific like flail that is like a blessed weapon. They have like a specific axe when they create it. They will bless it and give it to them. But it's it's something that's different from a regular.
yeah. Like the way they'll bless it could be like through prayer, or it could be like
Through special technologies.
or even like
Psychic
psychic
energy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah. And the other thing that is common in the Sister of Battle armory is that they use the Rhino chassis. So they use, once again, a Space Marine level vehicle for their army's transportation. But since it's a Rhino chassis, they use rhinos, they use
Like how you switched your
razorbacks.
pronunciation of chassis twice in 2 sentences.
Satan, Kitten, Katon,
Primarch.
Primarch.
Prime orc.
Wog. Wah. Who knows?
Somebody knows. I'm sure somebody out there knows the proper.
And
I
has
did.
a very strong opinion on it.
But yeah, so they have rhinos, razorbacks, exorcists, which are
That's
that
where the
pipe
Exorcist
organ.
launcher comes?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. And they have one other one. What's it? It's basically equipped with like two heavy flamers.
An immolator?
Immolator. Yes. But basically, it's like a rhino chassis, and you slap on different tops.
Different weapons.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing about the rhino. It's versatile.
Yes.
Super versatile.
But like when you look at their armory, they're using Space Marine level technology, and it really is probably one of the most powerful forces in the galaxy. Like if you took all the Sisters of
Yeah,
Battle,
can we talk numbers for a second?
Yeah, we don't know exact numbers.
There is
but
no set number on the number of Sisters of Battle. There are for Space Marines, and we can get a ballpark idea of Imperial Guard. Like a population of trillions. Like,
Yeah.
it's somewhere. It's big. It's
Yeah.
real big.
If
So-
billions are dying every day of Imperial Guardsmen, you must
Yeah.
have a pretty good population.
Yeah.
Pretty good guard.
But for Sisters, it's like they seem to be very elite, very well founded and funded.
yeah.
And there seem to be a lot of them, but we don't know. Like, there could be millions, billions of Sisters of Battle.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Right.
this is like the second largest organization.
Yeah.
Right?
To me, I would put their number in the billions personally.
Yeah.
Because there has to be more Sisters of Battle than there are Space Marines
Yeah.
by
That's
a lot.
Yeah.
But even just based on the fact that if all the worthy men are going to Space Marines and all the worthy women are going to the Sisters of Battle, and then you look at who just survives the trials more, Sisters of Battle would
Yeah.
survive.
And they don't have all the
way
surgeries
more.
and stuff.
That's all I'm
will
saying.
Kill off all the Marines.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, like it will be a higher number. Like I would put them in
you put some. Interesting.
Freudian slip. No, I would put them between numbers of Imperial Guard and the numbers of Space Marines.
Yeah.
They're somewhere in that range. Are they like, they're not as exhaustible as Imperial Guard,
No,
right? You're going to storm a fortress with bodies, Geronimo bodies, probably a guard thing.
Yeah.
Do you need more elite troops? Sisters of Battle? Do you need like tip of the spear of the Imperium? You're going to call in Space Marines, right? So.
Yeah. But there has to be a lot of them.
Yeah,
essentially.
I imagine there's and then you
uh,
include the other ordos, right? Like how many are
Yeah.
actually militant members versus doctors and stuff, and like it could be every small town in the Imperium that's within reach has a doctor, right?
Yeah,
It's like-
exactly. The other thing to note about them too is they're a galaxy-wide organization too. So where a Space Marine chapter, you will have 1,000 guys in one area.
Yeah.
Like the Sisters of Battle, you might only have 5 on this planet. 1,000 on this planet. Like it
And
will
over 1 million on that planet.
exactly. Like it
It
varies
depends
so much.
so greatly. Yeah, you could
Yeah.
have a tiny convent of only 10 sisters in
Yeah.
a whole planet or
Yeah.
a whole region.
But other ones like Ophelia 7 must
Yeah.
have a huge Sisters of Battle population.
I want to
like,
see someone attack Ophelia 7.
Let's do it.
Let's-
What are you doing next week?
I'm just going to call up my boy Abaddon. Let's launch a Black Crusade.
Yo, Abaddon, it's your boy Christian.
But yeah, I think that kind of sums up the Sisters of Battle. Like, I guess the one thing we never really talked about is their tactics. But Christian, you kind of mentioned it a little bit. Like they're specialists. Like they're elites.
Yeah, they're elite soldiers.
Like they're gonna do what the Imperial Guard cannot do, if like there's no Space Marines around. Essentially, like they're equipped with Space Marine level technology, so they're gonna basically do what Space Marines do.
Yeah.
not as good.
Not as good, no.
No one's as good as Space Marine except for Custodes and Primaris Marines.
Mama.
No one's as good as Space Marines except for Primaris Marines and Custodes.
But
And no one's better than Custodes and Primarchs. And no one's better than Primarchs and the Emperor himself. And the only thing better than the Emperor himself are the Chaos Gods.
Heretic.
That's pretty high up there. Those Sisters of Battle are pretty good.
But yeah, their tactics, they're very close range as well, as we kind of mentioned with the Flamers and the Meltas. Like, they want to get in there and do some melting, I guess. I don't know.
Do some burning.
Yeah, I don't know. Anything else really to mention about
They're
them?
all singing the Radiohead song "Burn the Witch" as they fight.
Never heard it, but going off the title, sure. But yeah, I think that's kind of the Sisters of Battle as a whole. Like, just say what you're gonna say.
Heroes?
We're gonna get into
some
great deeds. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought you were wrapping up the episode, and I was like, wait, there's more on your
only
notes.
you had looked at the notes.
I did look at the notes. That's why I was worried.
No, that's wrapping up the Sisters of Battle.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
They've done a bunch of deeds and stuff that we're going to talk about now.
We're talking about a couple.
Yeah.
Because obviously there's
There's
way
a
too
lot.
many.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you've done so much
Um,
for us.
but-
You should be grateful.
An
I'm
interesting thing
thankful.
about the Sisters of Battle that we didn't touch on in the episode, though, is sainthood and living saints.
Yeah.
So that's something we're going to chat about in the Great Deeds a little bit. Now, those are two different things. Sainthood is given to someone after death. They die, and then the church goes, Domine Patri Spiritus Sancti, and then they become a saint on that person because they did something so great.
Thank you, Eric.
A living saint is someone who actually has some kind of divine emperor power intervention in their life in the moment. And
Yeah.
the biggest example that everyone's going to know is Celestine.
Yeah.
This woman who literally has come back to life
Multiple times.
3 times, I
Yeah.
think. Like, she can't die,
Yeah.
which is crazy. That's
Yeah.
no human. That's not a human. So a living saint definitely fits
Yeah.
her category.
Yeah.
Quick thing on sainthood. Doesn't have to be a sister battle to be
No, but we're
canonized.
talking about specifically.
Yeah, I just want to
Sisters of
make that
Battle.
clear.
Lord Macarius.
Yeah.
Solar is a
Solar,
saint.
yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the one.
Posthumously.
Yeah. But
Posthumously, yes. Also, though, sainthood doesn't have to be as extreme as like Celestine is a pretty big example, but it could be like, you know, someone who should have died in an instance, right? Like a greater demon's come barreling down on you. The
Yeah.
whole village sees this go down. You're just standing there alone with like your crucifix or whatever imperial symbol, and then all of a sudden
Aquila.
you're Aquila, and suddenly the greater demon like strikes you and you don't die. Like
Yeah.
the blast just like dissipates into the midair or whatever.
Yeah.
And like you should have been dead. You really should have been dead.
Yeah, absolutely.
And like the
Clearly
church sees
you're-
this.
yeah.
You're blessed by the emperor. You're
course.
you're a living saint, and you know.
yeah. And to even take it one step further, like an Ordo Hospitaller.
Yeah.
Might even like, wow, you've like healed millions of people. Like sainthood.
Yeah.
Like it's not necessarily a combat.
Supernatural
Like this is
or
a
combat related. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. The Adeptus Sororitas will nominate saints, not just the Ordo Militant.
Of course, yes.
But we kind of talked a little bit, like they actually have crazy powers. Like the power of faith is an actual thing, and on tabletop they have what's called like acts of faith, and like it actually gives you like at the beginning of the game, however many squads you have, you build up like faith points.
It's almost like how command points worked.
Yeah, it might be a little different. I haven't looked at them in 8th, so I'm speaking. It might not be 100% true for this edition, but yeah, you build up these command points, essentially these faith points, depending on your army, and you can spend them on different actions. Like sometimes you can get an extra movement, like and it's the hand of the emperor, like pushing you forward. Sometimes you can literally like get like an invulnerable save, like your shield literally, or your armor, your faith.
Armor
literally-
of faith. Yeah.
Armor of faith literally becomes like a protective thing, that can protect you from attacks and stuff. Like they actually have, like, while they're not psychics, they have such faith that they can
They're
combine
affecting, because
their-
every human soul affects the warp, right?
Exactly.
So, the same ways you fear things and, have sexual deviancies or, or have addiction problems. Like, all these things feed into the warp.
Yeah.
But what they're projecting into the warp is this idea of, like,
protection
a
and faith.
God
and,
Emperor,
yeah.
and all their prayers are being answered and all this.
Yeah.
So that belief manifests itself.
Exactly.
Or sometimes it doesn't, and they just attribute it to it too. I like to think both are true. In
Yeah.
some cases, it's like,
Your
psychic
faith
force.
just wasn't enough.
Right, but like it's the same thing, or you rally a bunch of guys and like they feel this like new energy, and it's like, oh, it's the Emperor revitalizing us. It's
Is
just like
it-
a guy's really good at talking,
Yeah.
and you got an adrenaline boost, right?
But yeah, so it could go either way for sure.
Yeah.
But there are
It
plenty
depends
of
on what the
examples.
outcome is.
If you lost, you
Well,
weren't
no,
blessed.
some things are way harder to explain than
Yeah.
just I got an adrenaline rush.
Like
Right.
getting hit by a bloodthirster and surviving.
Right, exactly.
That is an
No, man,
impossibility.
adrenaline is a crazy drug.
Something interesting that Celestine has done that I wanted to say is...
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. We're in this whole area anyway. Celestine actually raised two people from the dead
Through faith.
through faith
And
then-
necromancy.
She's a witch. Burn her.
except she'd come back. But the interesting thing is those two people are now also living saints.
Yeah.
Which is just, it's insane what she's done.
Yeah.
And she's well past the age that humans
Yeah.
should be living. And
Yeah.
She's gone toe to toe with Abaddon.
Yeah, and during the
spoiler.
fall of Cadia too, they had that whole Blackstone pylons when they were like pushing back the warp. Her power actually like,
Waned with
weakened and
it.
waned when the warp was being like collapsing in on itself. Like
which
Which
leads
means
you
she's
to
a
believe.
demon and consorting with the warp.
yeah, like
Burn her.
she's basically like a demon essentially. Like
It's
we
really a
always-
minor chaos god.
Yeah, we always say like chaos is bad, but it doesn't always have to be bad.
The four chaos gods
Are
are
bad.
bad.
The church might say something about that.
No, but like the warp is we always
The warp is
sorry,
neutral.
The warp
and it
is-
depends how you use it, Magnus the Red.
No, the warp.
Well, yes. Magnus did nothing wrong.
Yeah.
It was
Anywho.
all Ariman. Guys,
all
come on,
It was
guys.
all Erebus.
Guys, you believe me, right? No. No? Oh.
Do I hear wolves at the door?
No, yeah. Celestine definitely at this point has and this is kind of hypothesizing.
She's transcended her
Totally.
humanity.
She's not
So-
human
Yeah,
anymore.
she's using some type of warp powers and stuff.
Absolutely. And enough people believing in her,
Yeah.
kind of giving adoration and worship to her is
Or the
just
Emperor believes in her.
bolstering her power.
Yeah, and it's
Right?
really quite crazy actually. 'Cause-
It's an actual creation of a minor chaos god, one that doesn't soul suck
demon.
Eldars,
Yeah.
or demon. But
Yeah.
I mean,
Because she could be serving the Emperor who's bestowing his
Of
powers
course.
on her.
Yeah.
Which is what they believe is it's the Emperor projecting his power into a person.
Yeah.
And that's what they actually, like, this is what the church will believe and
Yeah.
preach, is like, this person has supernatural abilities because it's the Emperor himself
Yes.
manifesting through them.
of
Yeah.
course.
Yeah.
Which could also be true. That's the
Yep.
thing about 40 kids. Like, is it the Emperor? Is
Hey,
it warp?
every now and again, the emperor has
warpery?
to stop banging the farmer's wife and go
do
Go
something.
do something and
Yeah.
help out
Yeah.
for a moment.
exactly. So
Another interesting fact about Sisters of Battle is they have only ever acknowledged that one of their members willingly fell to serve chaos.
Yes, it's an interesting thing. I think the key word there is have acknowledged.
yeah, and willingly.
And willingly.
And willingly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Also, for fun,
Yeah.
she fell to Slanish and became a sex bot.
No, she didn't. She's one of the champions.
Well, yes, but
She's one of Slanesh's favorite champions.
she fell to Slanish. Well, you do a lot of sexy things.
You don't have to. I
Perfection.
just wanted to dispel that myth
No,
right
I
now.
know, I know.
Slanesh doesn't have to be a sex god. He can do drugs too. Could be anything in excess,
Yeah, no, I know.
like cocaine.
But
There's no such
yeah,
thing
like,
as
it,
enough cocaine.
It is pretty crazy that only one has been acknowledged to fall to chaos. Like the
Yeah.
other ones, they must stop.
Take it as you will.
Yeah.
My personal opinion is that it's like the whole, oh, you were never loyal if for whatever reason you become corrupted.
Sure.
It's like, we never acknowledged your existence.
Yeah, or they have a cutoff point where it's like if they kill them before that, like
Yeah.
before they summon a demon, then you haven't truly fallen. But
Right.
we've caught everyone before they summon a
Right,
demon.
exactly, but-
even though they had full intent to
summon a
that
demon. Exactly.
Yeah.
I think that's what the key word is.
Absolutely.
I like to believe they're like renegade sisters of battle out there. The same as the renegade space marines, right? Like,
Sure.
been corrupted by demons or an ideology and
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, that one's kind of a touchy.
Yeah,
touchy-
and the
touchy
other
subject.
interesting word is willingly. So
Yeah.
they could have mind control parasites, and that's not willingly, obviously.
Right. Or, we're misled by a radical
Yeah.
belief that led them down the path of chaos,
Yeah.
but they didn't know any better at the time,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Or even you could have a bunch of possessed sisters of battle, but that's not willing.
Right, exactly. The
So-
demons went in there and freaking broke them.
Yeah. So
Or, they cut them up and use their blood to sanctify
fuck.
your armor. Whatever.
Wait a minute.
whatever you're into. Yeah. Another notable thing is, while they didn't really do this, they did do it. Like the Adeptus Sororitas didn't do it, but their founder did. They ended the age of apostasy, which we talked about. Like they actually stepped in and did what needed to be done and did what no one else could do.
No one was going to be able to get past them to
Yeah.
get to Gouge Van Dyer.
Yeah.
So
The
that's
Praetorian Guard choosing the Emperor.
Yeah, so
Rome.
so now the Custo just had to convince them that they had to do the Custodi.
Yeah.
Had to convince them that they had to do it.
Custodian.
What?
The next one, Sister Stern.
Yes.
The Thrice Born.
Okay, cool.
Oh.
This is a really cool one, actually. So Sister Stern is a Sisters of Battle, blah, 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 blah. Anyways, she's in this thing, this massive attack comes, everyone dies, including her. But for some reason, she's in like this cage where there's a bunch of like souls of her sisters or whatever that were being trapped. And there were like 700 souls, and they all like went into her body and raised her back from the dead. So that's the
Yeah.
first time
Yeah.
she comes back from the
Which
dead.
is crazy.
Which is crazy.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I've done it.
All right, sure. So she goes back to actually no, sorry, that's the second time that she came back from the first time it was a natural birth. That's the second
Can you
time she was
describe
born
it
again.
in great detail?
Vaginal. If you don't know what it is, Google it.
On it.
Okay, so the second time
Oh God, it's hideous.
That's what a labia is. I had no idea.
the second time was another interesting thing between this, she goes back to the convent, they put her in a cell. And she's like about to go crazy because of all like the 700 souls that are in her body.
Yeah.
And so she's going nuts. And so they put her in a cell while they decide what to do with her. Another sister actually gets possessed by a chaos demon, and they go to try and kill her. And she actually kills this possessed Sisters of Battle with her bare hands,
Oof.
which is a pretty badass thing to do.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And then after this, the Ordo Malleus steps in and is like, well, shit, something's going on there. So they take her and they're trying to figure out what happened with her because
Yeah.
she's ridiculously powerful.
Yeah.
And so another huge demon attack shows up because she's also being chased by Ahriman because he's like, I want a piece of this.
I want some of those souls.
Exactly. So the Inquisitor, everyone dies again. And in fact, she kills herself to stop the Ahriman of the Chaos being from like being able to take her. So she like drives like a knife like through her own heart and kills herself. And so she's dead. They bury her. She's fine. All of a sudden, she rises from the dead again because she's like now fully accepted this power of the souls that are in her. And now everyone's like, holy shit, this is crazy. Like, can she even die?
Yeah.
At this point? So now, like, the Ordo Malleus is after her. She even defeated a Calexis assassin.
So is she like on the run from people? Like when you
She
say they're
is now.
after her.
She is now,
Right.
yes. At this point, she's currently in the Black Library.
Oh,
Yeah.
Is she?
Yep. She went with an Eldar. Farseer took her into the Black Library, and she's currently there. But yes, the Ordo Malleus has like said, "Hey, we're killing her. She needs to die." But it's a kind of a touchy topic because some of them within the Ordo believe that she might actually be like the most powerful thing next to Primarchs because you just can't kill her.
right. Yeah. Yeah,
an
and
interesting-
that's the thing is like, is she blessed by the Emperor or is she cursed by demons?
Right,
We
yeah.
don't know, so we should kill her to make sure.
Yes, absolutely. But it's such an interesting, like, she's a Sisters of Battle who just keeps
crazy.
on fighting on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any relation to Brother Captain Stern by chance?
I sincerely
Of the Grey Knights.
doubt it. But you never
Sister, lover, both?
know. All.
All of the above.
The next one is Sister Agnes, and they liberated almost 100 worlds with only 1,000 Sisters of Battle. And it just shows that, like,
Their combat prowess.
yeah, like, that's a lot of worlds.
That is a lot of worlds.
Yeah.
Some of them were moons. I'm just kidding.
That's no moon.
It's a battle station. They blew up the Death Star.
Are you trying to belittle a woman's role in the Imperium?
No, Jordan, I would never do such a thing. I'm just saying Death Stars are powerful weapons. That's all I'm saying.
When used properly.
Yeah. Yeah, like, there's way more notable deeds and stuff,
Oh,
but
so many.
like,
It's so many.
a lot of their
many.
deeds involve them coming back from the dead, which is pretty
Seems
crazy.
to be a theme
But
in a death cult.
yeah, I think that's that will wrap that portion up. Any-
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm good on that one.
All right.
He
So
browses Facebook.
our final thing before we get to our listener questions, our hopes and dreams for the new codex and story. Anyone want to jump in?
I'll let you guys go first.
I don't think Eric.
I have a
prepared
side.
anything.
I have a side rant on this.
I can make some stuff up though.
More female representation.
In the Sisters of Battle, impossible.
They're all
Literally
female.
impossible.
Well, on that note, my hope for them is male Sisters of Battle.
Diversity.
Brothers of Battle.
You can't have just one organization that's made up of solely one gender.
That would make me mad, irrationally mad.
Yeah.
Make me want to make a blog post almost.
Send an angrily worded letter to Games Workshop.
Start a campaign.
Hey, I'm okay with it as long as they have female penises.
Oh, yes. Well, so joking aside, I hope they don't do male Sisters of Battle.
no, that would be dumb.
That would be
It
retarded.
would totally ruin everything that the Sisters of Battle is.
Just in case no one caught on to the sarcasm.
That was just seeping out of your headphones right now.
Oozing.
Oozing. But honestly, my hopes for them is I hope that they stay a lot of the
theme.
Yeah, like I know that they kind of have a lot of tropes that were cool in the 80s, like the Sister Repenta, and they're like these scantily clad women running around. I hope they keep that. Like, to me, we talked about it. Like, there's a reason why they do that. I hope they don't just cave to like, oh, we
Social
can't have
pressure.
Yeah, we can't have women viewed sexually, you know? Like, not that I view them sexually, but some
You
people
don't view
do.
anybody sexually.
No, only my hand. It knows me.
Jill.
It loves me.
And I love it.
I love it.
It.
But another thing that I hope for too is just this has pretty much already been confirmed, but boob plate on their armor. I love boob plate. I'm gonna be honest, I love it. Like 40K, it's all style. Like I know boob plate
It's
is
not practical.
It's not practical.
It's not
I understand.
Historically accurate.
I understand. You know what else isn't practical? Fucking running around with chainswords, wearing bright yellow armor. The Imperium is not a practical place. What it is a stylized place.
Yeah.
It's all
And-
about style, yo.
Yeah.
The
And-
Imperium, we don't care. We look good doing it.
And it's just I know there's already been a bunch of Sisters of Battle teaser models, and they have the blue plate, and I'm happy about that. Like it's just that style.
Okay.
The
on
only
the
reason,
same.
The only
go, Eric.
reason I wouldn't want the boob plate
Yeah.
is so it becomes a single like piece of
Band.
armor around it, and then you just put a single massive image there. I love the
Yeah.
Aquila,
like they
that's-
do with the Stormcast Eternal females, where
Right.
it's like a solid one boob.
Yes, I love the like a massive symbol on there that represents who they are,
As opposed to two.
as opposed to two that cut perfectly these massive double Ds, which is just an unrealistic.
Yeah, like-
but again, it's not about the realism; it's about how crazy it looks.
Yeah.
and it does look crazy.
Yeah.
And yes, GW does a good job doing it.
Yeah.
But I prefer this one massive image.
Yeah. Yeah, basically I just hope that they keep a lot of the same themes, even though a lot of them can kind of be a little outdated if like to some people. To me, I think it's so cool looking.
Just to take off on that thing, I hope they don't do, which I personally despise.
Yeah.
Is freaking high heels.
Yeah.
That's like there's not even like a
That
style.
might be a bit too far on the stylized.
Yeah, like honestly, like even like in like superheroes, whenever
Oh,
I
I
see
know, yeah.
like when freaking Black Widow's running around
Yeah.
aisles, I'm like,
Or did you ever watch the first Jurassic World?
yes. Actually, did you know that was the actress who wanted to run in high heels?
What the hell's wrong with her?
She wanted to do
That
it.
is
That was her.
stupid.
That was her
That's
choice.
so
yeah,
retarded.
I know.
You would never run away from a T-Rex.
You couldn't run away from a T-Rex on foot.
I know.
Anyways, let alone with high heels.
So
That pissed
have
me
you
off.
seen any of the new Sisters models?
I've only seen the headshots.
Okay,
I
they
haven't
released
seen-
one. I think on Friday they did one,
Okay.
and there's no high heels, so you will be happy to see
Yeah,
that.
that.
There's not, as far as I could tell, there isn't even like a slight raise.
Yeah.
like I know Inquisitor Greyfax has straight
She's got
up,
like freaking that
Stilettos.
that
Yeah.
drives me crazy.
But, like
in her case, I'll give it a pass because she's not exclusively a combat
Yeah.
person. There are times she's like in really high ranking
yeah, like
functions.
she'll wear that same armor at trial.
Exactly, and at a meeting and everything. Okay, yeah, Eric's showing me a picture right now.
Yeah, like
Nice.
it's so cool, and I really
Yeah.
like what they've done with the model, and I just hope they keep
Yeah.
a lot of these same.
It looks
I
Like
like
they
how
are.
thick she looks.
Yeah.
Like she looks like she's been training
two
her
Cs.
whole life.
Yeah, like
she
With
looks
two
like
Cs.
she's been training whole life to beat the shit out of people.
yeah, she doesn't have the curves of the
Right,
old.
same
models,
thing,
like-
same argument like Black Widow, right? Like,
Yeah,
you see real UFC women fighters, and they look like they're tough.
Oh, they look like they would beat the shit
An
out of me.
actress who is, eats kale all day and doesn't work out. I'm like, yeah, you're skinny, but you're not. Look like you could pick a fight with me.
All she does is the elliptical or something.
Yeah, exactly.
BS
That's
like
her gym time.
She doesn't lift
Stairs,
weights or
guys.
anything. Yeah.
Which is healthy for women, and I encourage it. Anyways,
the other thing I hope for the Codex is I like the faith points. I hope they expand on that further, and they don't do away with it because of command points.
I assume they're gonna do away with it because of command points, and
Like,
they'll just
'cause it
make
is-
those their stratagems.
Because it's so similar.
Yeah.
But like, I hope they do something still with some type of faith oriented.
I could see them keeping them though, specifically because most people probably wouldn't run just Sisters of Battle. So you would use their stratagems on other things, and you would keep your acts of faith for your Sisters of Battle army,
Yeah.
which would be kind of cool.
Yeah.
yeah,
I would like to see a clearer hierarchy laid out in terms of like the canonesses.
Yeah, like when we talk Space Marines, we literally have like the first company of the Ultramarines.
You know
like,
exactly what's in it,
Yeah.
who's in it.
I would
how
like
it's
to
laid
see a
out.
little clearer picture of that, just
Yeah.
because when I make my Sisters of Battle army, I want
there
it
we
to
go.
be correct.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
For myself, I hate to bring it back around to the boot plate
No,
thing.
go for it.
We did a podcast way back when, and we talked about boot plate for a sec, and I was going to make a point, and I didn't make it, and it's bugged me ever since, so I'm going to make it now.
All right,
Well,
Jordan, this is the end
We're
of the
out of
podcast.
time.
Yeah, I call it Conan syndrome, where people will look at Sisters of Battle and make complaints about the boot plate,
Yeah.
but like you got the same standard for men. So like I call it Conan syndrome because you have a character, Red Sonja, who literally, this is where the stereotype of the metal bikini comes from. She
Yeah.
literally is wearing a chainmail bikini.
Yeah.
But Conan is running around like naked half the time in
Yeah.
a loincloth and like fighting people, and nobody cares.
Yeah.
No one makes complaints about him being sexualized, even though he has, a
Well,
body.
clearly you don't know that rules work differently for men and women.
Right, absolutely. His muscles are as hard as iron, yes. But yeah, like he has this, untainable body and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But it's such a total double
It's not
standard. right?
unattainable. Someone attained it.
Arnold.
Mr. Schwarzenegger himself.
With lots of drugs. But anyways,
No, I-
that's kind of like my thing. Like
Yeah.
it's a total... It's such a
a huge
nitpicking
double
thing, a
standard.
double standard. It deviates completely from 40K, which is not. You're going to come at me with like, oh, it's not practical. Yeah, it's
Nothing in
not.
40K.
Nothing in 40K is practical.
Yeah, exactly.
Look at their spaceships. They have cathedrals on their spaceships.
Yeah, exactly.
They literally have organs on their tanks.
Plus, I like the
Yeah.
historical themes like tied with them, like the whole like they are nuns
Yeah.
with guns. Like
Yeah.
that is their theme. They should not deviate from what they are meant
Yeah.
to be. The same way, freaking Space Marines are monks with guns. They're
Yeah.
knights,
Bark and
knights in space, right?
But yeah, no,
they take from
exactly.
the real history and then they just project it into the future.
So I hope that they don't change anything too drastically. I don't think they will.
No, like if those images are anything to go off that Eric just showed me, like they look like they're pretty well in line with what they're going with.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
You'll never fully get rid of every like terrible thing
Yeah.
about it, but it looks way more better than the other ones they used to have.
They're just so old.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
They were
It's
doing an
just-
update, and I'm not disappointed with the update.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got anything?
Yeah, just in rules terms, I agree with you. Acts of faith and everything. That's why
Yeah.
I just wanted to throw that out there. And I had one more point. Maybe more unit variety. I don't just want Space Marine clones.
Well, so I was about to say that. So with Primaris, I think Eric, you made this point with Primaris. now a thing, we're not likely going to continue to see tactical Marines and Devastators and all
Right.
that. Like, we all know eventually, we don't know when, but eventually it's going to go away, and it's all going to become Primaries.
Right.
So then the Sisters of Battle being, like, they're essentially tactical assault.
Now they can fill that role that
Exactly.
the Marines are leaving.
Yeah,
in
like
the,
if you wanted
in the
to
gameplay meta.
if you wanted to
Yeah.
play a classical Space
Tactical
Marine army,
squad
this
with-
is how you do it.
Right, you got
Exactly.
your 10 men, you got your heavy, your
Yeah. So
special
hopefully you
weapon and
see
your
like
sergeant.
a lot of variety within like their sister superiors and how they can start
right,
taking
how they can deck out.
Yeah.
exactly more like sergeants and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, that was my main thing.
Another
No,
thing,
I hear you, and if Space Marines didn't get that change, I would agree, for sure.
what's
I,
what,
I don't like the new Primaris direction. I wish Space Marines kept that and they did something new with Sisters, but we got to work with what we got.
Yeah.
what's your thought on Sisters of Battle Psychers?
It hurts, maybe. I don't know.
I'm not entirely certain where I land on
actually,
that.
yeah, I remembered what I was going to say too, but we'll duke this
No,
out. I
I'm-
feel like it falls under witch category. I feel like they'd be
Yeah.
a lot like Black Templars in that regard, where like they're not going to consort with witches if they can help it.
Yeah.
They're not going to willfully. If they find a witch amongst themselves, they're probably going to purge her or send her into a black ship and like, okay, you can do your duty as a sacrifice to the Emperor. That's my personal opinion, just based on their radicalism and like burn the witch kind of mentality.
Yeah.
I don't see them working well alongside them.
Oh, but
No, this is a different.
okay.
Go into a different one. I got another one after you got yours.
Okay,
Oh, so I wasn't done on the
hear me out.
Psychers.
Hear me out.
No,
Oh, okay,
Psychers?
go.
Yeah, I wasn't done on
Okay,
that.
okay. Keep going.
I agree. Like I think that they should view them the same way Templars view them.
Okay.
Like I don't think they should exist.
So Acts of Faith.
Yeah.
Hear me out.
What if you got rid of Acts of Faith and instead you had a character or like an elite whose like sole ability was to be the manifestation of these Acts of Faith?
That'd be fine.
So
And,
think of
like,
think of like a
Saints,
Satan.
but they're saints.
I know what you're saying. Yeah,
Saints
and
already
A saint,
exist.
like a living saint.
Right, but you just call it something religious and you don't call them psychers. And you
Right,
get,
that's what
yeah,
I'm saying.
Yeah, and
But
I'd
it's
be
the
okay
same
with
thing.
that. And
But
like,
it's
I
not
didn't-
heresy.
But I didn't
Yeah.
see that stuff in the 'cause
right.
We looked
So
through
you
the
want to
7th edition
include
codex.
that? Yeah, you want to include that.
I
Yeah.
could get behind that.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
That
Right,
would be
if you-
Where it's not actually a psyker,
If you reskin
it can be blocked. It's in the psychic phase. It can be blocked by psychic things,
Of
but
course.
it's not called a psyker.
Yes, it's like a.
it would just be
it's
like a
their faith
generic living
manifestation.
saint
Yeah.
unit.
I think that would be interesting.
Even if it was like you could upgrade one person in a squad
To be that.
and then that squad now has access to faith points or faith
Abilities.
or
Acts
whatever.
of Faith or
yeah,
That like I think that would be interesting.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, okay, I can get behind that as that.
Yeah. That's all I'm going.
Did you got anything else?
Yeah,
No?
I got one more.
Okay, I'll do mine. So the only other thing that I personally would like to see, and this kind of goes across three armies and the armies that we've been talking about for the last 2 months, Grey Knights, Death Watch, and the Sisters of Battle. I wish they lumped either one of two things. I hope either they release an Inquisition Codex that has all three Inquisitor types, but to me it's not a big enough codex. Like sure, then you have henchmen, but it's not a big enough codex.
Stormtroopers.
Sure, they could.
It would be a highly
like
specialized
they've done it
codex.
before, and I'm
Yeah.
not the biggest fan.
I
To
know.
me-
I'm not either. I
yeah,
don't like that.
to me, I liked it better when Witchhunters was its codex. It wasn't a Sisters of Battle. It
Yeah,
was
it was
an
a
Ordo
Witchhunters
Hereticus codex that had Sisters of Battle in it.
Yeah.
Right.
And
That
I would
definitely
like.
seems the more practical way.
Yeah, and I like for Grey Knights. I wish it wasn't a Grey Knights codex. I wish it was an
Ordo
Ordo
Malleus
Malleus.
Codex. Yeah.
But
but
that,
that's tough because there's so much in the Grey Knights.
But
But
why
you-
can't that be inside? Same with the
Yeah.
Sisters of Battle. Why can't that be in the other codex?
Yeah.
It's just a way to make money by splitting it into smaller chunks.
Yeah.
But if you actually give it like a good beefy book with
Yeah.
everything in it,
it would
could
be a
still
big
be
book.
okay.
But yeah, like hey, I have no problem with that.
Right.
I
And you
just
could
don't-
run an all Grey Knight or all Sisters of Battle army within the book.
Yeah.
But you also have other options too where you can recombine.
Well,
And-
yeah,
And
exactly.
I think it suits the best is Ordo Xenos because then you don't have an all kill team army.
yeah.
Of like, it kind of, it's
Yeah,
not
you could
really
then
how
have
Ordo
stormtroopers
Xenos,
and-
yeah,
yeah.
it's not really their
Yeah.
modus operandi, right?
Yeah, and that's not the direction they're going to go. I just wish that was something.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
I'm not going to get it, but I'm going to say that I want it.
I agree. All right. Ready
But
for
what's
mine?
your last one?
Sisters
Okay,
of Battle.
boobs.
More of them, more than two on each model. No. Sisters of Battle Terminators.
Interesting.
I don't see why they couldn't exist.
I would only say just because they don't have black carapace.
but Terminator armor was developed
I guess-
as not even as a Space Marine thing.
Yeah,
it
and
used
there
to
are
be
there are Inquisitors that wear it.
Terminator armor, exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm not opposed
Or
to
even if you just gave them like artificer armor, you had a squad of these elites.
It's a little different.
right,
though.
right.
Like,
I'm not looking for just more ornate armor. I'm looking for actual
okay.
Terminator
No,
armor.
now I'm thinking about it. Yeah, no, absolutely. Like,
There's no reason they can't.
yeah. That would be sweet. Just imagine the way their armor would look. Like,
Yeah, it'd just be more ornate Terminator armor. I think that'd
Yeah.
be sweet. That's such an awesome unit idea. And now that Primaris
The
Marines
ability
again,
to like
Yeah.
teleport in.
yeah, and getting away from the Primaris Marines, like
Yeah.
they don't have Terminators like they used to. They're now this Aegis suit, or what do they call it? Is it an no?
their newest.
Yeah, the ones that captains and like the aggressors. wear.
Gravis.
Gravis armor.
Yeah.
Doesn't look anything like Terminator armor. It's like its own new hybrid thing.
Yeah.
So that totally opens up the box for Terminators.
That would be very cool.
Right?
I wonder if there's any third party Terminator sisters.
There is in this very 6mm scale that I was looking at. That's what actually triggered
6
all this.
millimeters.
Yeah. That's tiny.
Absolutely tiny.
It's like War Master. I know. I love it.
Interesting.
They don't make
Yeah.
any Space Marines, but they make Sisters of Battle, and they have like sister Terminators.
Yeah,
It's
no,
like-
that would be very cool.
Yeah, I
for
believe
sure.
there's a comic book with, I don't know if she's an Inquisitor or a Sister of Battle who's wearing Terminator armor too. It causes huge like uproar when it happened.
nice.
Just imagine though a squad of Sisters of Battle Terminators with flamers in one hand and I don't know, maybe chain swords in the other. It's pretty 40k.
Or
Yeah.
chain fists.
Yeah, I think
Chain
they shouldn't
fists,
just be
yeah.
Terminators but sisters. They should be different and unique, but wearing Terminator armor.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
their weapon loadout should be unique to them.
Yeah, exactly.
And make them.
Yeah, they're not going
interesting.
to.
They have like
thunder
exorcist
hammers.
launchers on their back, the pipe
Yes.
order
Yes,
launchers.
you know,
like,
something like that.
Why not?
Yeah, that is
absolutely.
a huge.
It would almost
opportunity.
even be cool to place a Space Marine army, like using Space Marine rules, using Sisters of Battle.
They're not exactly the same.
They're
though.
not.
And
no.
there
But
are
then you
even
could-
on the rules aspect, they're not exactly the
yeah.
same, and in lore, they're not exactly.
Oh
the same.
no, absolutely.
They're not.
It's not the
Eric,
best matchup.
don't you back
but,
out.
But then if somebody really did
Mark
want to
already
use
knows.
Terminator armor, you could.
Or Primaris Marines.
Or if you wanted to use a Predator, like I'm. The more I say it,
Now
the
you're
more
you're going into Predator. You're going into
Well,
heresy.
it would be
land.
interesting to think like now that like the Space Marines no longer have like the monopoly on all the Land Raiders and all like the Predators and the Vindicators and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Now the Church feels like like this will be
yeah,
our
like
territory
Land Raiders
now.
are now coming in. Like
Exactly.
yeah.
Like now we have the authority to do this, and
Yeah.
so they start producing like all these Redeemers and like Crusaders,
Yeah.
all those different variants, and they give
Yeah.
them to the sisters.
Yeah, it would be cool.
They
for
become
sure.
like the Space Marine army.
yeah, but
And then advance Primaris to their own tier.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. Because
exactly.
they are right.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. but
Interesting.
yeah, no, that's cool. I like the Terminator idea for sure.
Yeah. Shut your mouth. All right.
So that's
All right.
that. Listener questions.
Yes, let's jump into it. We've got a couple. The first comes to us from Eric. He says, training and recruitment for Sororitas. We covered it.
Yep.
Battle doctrine. I'm not entirely certain what he's going for, but I'm
Maybe just like
assuming
battle tactics, like how do they approach situations?
the Emperor, obviously, is number
Fine.
one.
And
And,
then the church will tell us what the emperor's saying.
exactly.
And then-
we'll burn everything anyway.
No, I think the battle doctrine is they all hop in rhinos, they drive as close as they can, and they just fucking unleash all hell.
Yeah. I like to think that they're like shock troops,
Yeah.
really, right?
Yeah.
They're heavily armored and they're like breaching things, and, like,
Yeah.
you know, places where that armor suits their combat style.
Yeah.
But because of their like of flame technology, they've got to get close enough to use it, right?
Yeah. They're like
They're
there's
like
no
a
point for
mid-range.
yeah. There's no point for them to just sit at the backfield and
No, because they
not shoot their heavy flamers.
well,
all
they
day.
would be dishonored by doing that anyway,
Yeah,
right?
so-
Like they believe that they got to get up close and personal and help you like
You gotta-
absolve your sins.
And then on
you
top
gotta
of
make
it,
sure that witch is dead.
Yeah.
you got the mentality aspect of like they're fanatics. At the end of the day, they're just fanatical. Even if they don't have the physical combat prowess, mentally they're there. They want to
Yeah.
fight. They want to get into it. So it's
Yeah.
like, of course, because they got the weapons and armor, hell yeah, they're gonna get in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
They're fanatics.
yeah.
He also asks, what's their reach within other Imperial organizations such as the Guard, Navy, Astropath, etc.?
Like I wonder if he means like can the sister battle like order people
Requisition.
around
Yeah,
and
I
stuff?
think they're just too distinct.
Yeah.
Like an Imperial Guard commander is not going to tell a Sister Battle what to do, but a Sister Battle is also not going to tell an Imperial Guard what to do.
Yeah.
They're-
like they're not even militant. Like the sister battle aren't.
They're not in a middle.
They're in the ecclesiarchy.
Yeah, they're not in a military hierarchy. They're in
Yeah.
a church hierarchy.
Yeah.
So it's completely separate. It's like a soldier telling a nun what to do. It's
Yeah.
like, okay, because a soldier has a gun, I might do what he's telling me.
Yeah.
But
But
if my gun is bigger and I have
Right.
better training than you,
then I don't
back
have to
the
do what
fuck
he's
off.
Right.
Soldier,
So I don't
Soldier
think-
Sam.
Yeah,
Like-
but the thing is, it's not necessarily equivalent to Space Marines who are completely independent,
Yeah.
but are still a military structure,
Yeah.
and can even order guardsmen who are beneath them because they see them as more like there's a medieval hierarchy going on where it's like a lord and then like a peasant.
Yeah.
With the sisters, it's like you have a church and a state troop, right?
No.
Yeah.
They're different, completely different organizations.
I think
Yeah.
they have they're much more dissociated than the other parts
Yeah,
of the
so they might work alongside each other. The commanders might talk to each other and be like, "Hey, well, let's work together on this attack." but it's not like a guardsman sergeant's like, hey, you sister, go do that, or a sister's like, hey, guardsman, go do that.
Yeah.
Right.
Agreed.
If there's any communication, definitely on a commander level.
Yeah, exactly. And then it goes up and then goes down the chain of command, right? And hell, there might be a sister who's like, okay, you do whatever these guardsmen say. They've been here long enough. They know their tactics.
Yeah.
They know
for
the
the tackle
scenario.
and vice versa, right?
Everything.
The sisters, everything the sister says, you do it. My troops are under your command now. Go for it, right?
All right. Jonas asks,
Or they'll kill each other, if that's the order that's given.
like, do you want to keep talking about this?
No, that's all.
All right. Jonas asks,
And also, hold on.
does the Sororitas feel shame over their history? I mean that they express in some kind of way, considering they were duped by a madman and used by him for doing heinous things, never considering they were wrong to follow him with such confidence, until the leader found out the truth and chopped the guy's head off. No. I don't think so.
No.
I think they're over it. They've already purged them by killing him and ending it.
Yeah, like
so.
with the whole Repenta sisters, like they have what they did. They know it was wrong. They redeem themselves. They're over it.
You
They
absolve
never
it,
look-
you come back.
Exactly.
Or else all of them would be this Sister Repentia.
Yeah.
It's also a dangerous thing in the Imperium to admit guilt. It is, for real.
Yeah, no,
so if
absolutely.
they themselves call themselves like, oh, we were heretics in this act.
Yeah.
Or it's like the Dark Angels, why they're always trying to keep it down, like downplayed, right? It's like,
Yeah.
if we openly admit that we did something wrong, then the whole might of the Imperium is going to come down on us.
Yeah.
And we don't want that, right? So
I went on this mad rant when me and Eric were doing our notes, and we've seen this message about you don't have to feel bad for what your ancestors did. If your ancestors were black slave owners, that's not your fault. Like, I went
did
on
you
this-
own any people?
No, I went on that whole fucking rant, but then Eric's like, hold on, like in 40K, it's a very reasonable question because there's like Death Corps of Krieg, where thousands of years ago something happened and they're still trying to redeem themselves for it. I'm like, that's a good point, Eric. Like, it is a theme in 40K.
It is and I actually
Well, it's
really
even a
like-
religious-
I really like the theme, even like
You talked me off the edge, is what I'm saying.
That was a close one.
that was a close one.
It's it comes from like real religious themes, right? Where like the sins of the father get passed down, right? Like that
Sure.
in real life churches and
Sure.
like particularly in old style, like where this comes from, like medieval ages, like there's a lot of like ancestors involvement, right? Like that's how blood feuds start.
Yeah.
My ancestor killed your ancestor, and we're still fighting today over it.
Yeah.
It just comes from the source material. that
Yeah,
they're
no,
drawing
absolutely. But, yep. Don't feel bad for what your ancestors did. You didn't do it.
from. Unless you did do it, then you should feel real
Then you
bad.
should feel real bad. And stop doing it, probably.
Vincent asks,
Become a sister repentia.
is dreaming about being punished by a sister of battle considered heretical by the Holy Inquisition?
So it's comments like these that I hope continue to happen.
First of all,
Like, because I know it's a joke. Like, he's not obviously wanting to get whipped by maybe he is. I don't know.
People are
That's-
into some weird
That's not my
stuff.
business. But like, I just, it goes back to the hope for the new codex. I hope they keep these strong themes, like where we can make jokes like this. And yeah,
Is
you
it
should not feel bad.
No.
You should feel pleasure.
okay, actually,
depends.
this brings up a real question.
Sure.
So, like how we talked about the whole Space Marine penis. I know it's kind of kidding, but it's also kind of real because it's like, do they or don't they?
Yeah.
Do they castrate them? There were like military forces that would castrate people or not or whatever.
Sure.
Are sisters actually like nuns where they actually have like, they practice chastity, or is there no actual need for chastity? And like, could there be pregnant sisters or like sisters that give birth to more kids and then like re-indoctrinate the women and like send the boys to progenium?
okay.
Or
That's a good
right?
question.
It's
So-
totally
Great
legit.
My thought is, as long as it would not hinder with their duties.
Right. So probably military ones are not.
Right. I do not foresee them giving birth just because it would put you out of duty for
Right, you're
minimum
9
9
months. Yeah, plus
right.
healing time
But
or
even
whatever.
so, like if the relationship that you have with another human interferes with your Ordos famulus duties, I would see it not being allowed.
Right.
So maybe, I mean, there's not enough for me to say yes or
It's
no.
never explicitly
but it's
stated.
I would
anywhere
say
that they
most
practice
likely
chastity.
the chances are good no. That's my thought.
Yeah, if I was to lean one way, I'd say no, just because it's so strongly based on Catholic nuns who can.
Right. That's what I was gonna say. Is like
So-
just from the historical.
Which Games Workshop loves to do.
Right.
So
It makes sense that they would just like take it wholesale and like they do practice chastity as like a religious thing, or because they're so devoted to their duty that it is It's not direct heresy, but it's the
They're
kind of
career women.
right, exactly. Well, even career women can freeze their eggs, Mark. No,
These guys have eggs.
guys.
What was his original question even?
Is it her?
Oh, Dream.
But he
no,
also-
it's not bad.
He also had a follow-up. And if it is heretical, what would be the punishment for such a crime? And more important, would the punishment be inflicted by a sister of battle herself?
More whipping.
So he
perhaps?
wants to turn his dream into reality as a punishment. Vincent,
No.
Sneaky bastard! We'll burn you at the stake.
Sorry, bud. You're turning into an arco-flagellant.
You can whip yourself.
Jeffrey asks, what weaponry and equipment do the Ordo Hereticus have that sets them apart from the other two?
Crossbows.
Yeah, crossbows.
Power stakes.
We
Power
de-
pitchforks.
We definitely talked about this. Elliot asks, how would a group of sisters react to commands of a living saint or just a higher ranking member from a different monastery, order of sisters, or convent, let's say?
I did not follow that question.
All right,
at
so
all.
someone who's a higher rank than you,
Yeah.
but from a different order,
Right.
but still within the order's militant, or within a completely different convent.
That's a good question.
Like,
Because they're not like Space Marine chapters that are completely distinct, right? Like a Space Marine chapter from another
No.
chapter is independent from
and you can never join that chapter,
Right.
whereas these ones, you can actually go from order to order.
Right, and the rank structure is maintained.
And it's the same,
It's like,
doesn't matter what order you're
right,
in.
it's like in the military, like a colonel from another regiment can still tell you what to do because he's still a colonel. But like I said, Space Marines are distinct units, but Sisters of Battle seem to operate in that military structure
Yeah.
where all sisters of a certain rank are that rank.
I think a higher, like a command structure would be set.
Yeah.
Once
Well-
these people meet.
Yeah, so when we talked about like the hierarchy, we talked about like there's canonesses, there's sister superior, and there's sisters, and those go throughout all the organizations. Those aren't just like Ordo militant. So yeah, like a sister
That's what I'm saying,
superior.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. A sister
It's
superior.
always a sister superior, regardless of who they're talking to.
Exactly. So I would say that.
Yeah, and then if two sisters superior from two separate orders or convents meet up, they just would determine.
Yeah,
who
maybe
is
they
in
would try
charge.
to that or find somebody higher up.
Yeah.
The only clause on this would be maybe the Ordo militant, maybe like if a order of the broken flower heart tells an order of the blessed eyeball.
Are they both orders militant?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think then you still got to maintain that military.
Structure.
Yeah, as long as she's a sister superior, like.
And it might also depend on what area you're operating in, right?
Yeah.
Suppose you have a head surgeon type sister who's a sister superior.
Yeah.
You're like in a hospital type setting. She's
Yeah.
telling you guys what to do. She's like, I need you to help me bandage this, right?
Yeah.
And you're a sister's military.
Oh,
Or
yeah.
or if that's
I think
if
you would
that,
still
if that
listen.
medical sister's in a combat situation, it's the other way around. Where they're like, no,
Yeah.
get down, go over there, deal with this guy. We're
Yeah,
moving forward.
Exactly.
Right?
Whatever the situation.
Specialty, right? You're at
Yeah.
like a meeting of the sisters who deal with like high ranking like
Yeah.
diplomats or whatever.
Dialogus.
Yeah, exactly. She's gonna take the lead and be like, okay, you guys just stand bodyguard. If this happens, then engage.
Yeah.
If not, you're following my orders.
Exactly.
And then if shit hits the fan, okay, the sisters who are the combat ones are gonna take over.
That's
and
a good
We're in
explanation.
charge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's all speculation.
Yes.
But it makes sense.
Yeah. Just from a practical perspective, which the Imperium is rarely a practical place.
This is a good question from John. Do the Sororitas have a similar independence from the Ordo Hereticus as Space Marines? Have they ever passed judgment on an Inquisitor? And I would also like to know if any of the Sororitas orders allow their sisters to leave active duty and live out more ordinary lives, or is it an automatic lifelong commitment? Okay, so do the Sororitas have similar independence from the Ordo Hereticus?
Yeah, they have independence for sure.
Yes.
Yeah. But once again, when an Inquisitor calls upon you, chances are good you're gonna
say
answer.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if you don't, you
Well-
better have a reason or you're...
Yeah.
And a lot of the time, their objectives are going to be aligned.
Yeah.
Right. It's going to like go hunt this demon. No. Well, why? Because we don't want to. Like that's
Exactly.
sister's like, there's a demon about. Well, let me get to my hunting rifle.
Have
Yeah.
Sororitas ever passed judgment on an Inquisitor? I don't
No.
believe they have the right.
Only
to do
Inquisitors can pass judgment.
Maybe they'll listen to another Inquisitor that says that Inquisitor's
that.
there.
Yes, but they are not the ones that get to make that
Yeah,
decision.
exactly. You can't have an all-powerful organization that people can just say, no, thank you.
Yeah. Are they allowed to leave?
That's another good question.
In real life, can nuns leave?
Yep.
Honorably?
Yep.
Okay. Then I would say yeah.
I don't know.
I don't think
I'm not Catholic.
I don't think the Imperium would allow you to do that after putting all that time and effort into
Yeah,
you.
it's almost like they own you, I think.
Yeah, because you're from the Schola Progena.
Yeah, they own you already.
Yeah.
Regardless of what branch you go into.
Like-
But like what?
Can a commissar leave?
Yeah,
Again,
they can retire.
Can they? Yeah.
Yeah.
Gone. But do they retire or do they just go teach other commissars?
Well-
Is that retirement?
Well, that's the thing. So like,
What does
I
retirement
don't
look
think,
like?
Yeah, is the retirement going to a backwater paradise world and spending out the rest of your day?
Can they live an
No.
ordinary life?
An ordinary.
They can't, like,
life.
biologically they could, provided they didn't get irradiated to shit based on the combat they were in. But
Could they just leave and go to a back world where there's no Imperial presence and just be a farmer?
theoretically they could, again, physically. But
I think
is it
they're too
allowed?
fanatical.
I definitely agree with you. Can they? Sure, I would allow
Right,
that.
but maybe what if they feel that the Emperor's...
Would they? No.
Okay, but what if the Emperor's like, I feel like the Emperor's told me to hang up my battle robe and, go live a peaceful life here and preach as a local to the people.
Well, that would
right?
be a different order.
Right, but not
that's
not as a sister. What if she feels called to not be a sister anymore? Right.
I just don't know
think
why
there's
they
such
would.
thing as not feeling called to be
Yeah,
a sister.
and chances are good. Like if they did leave, they would probably end up just joining the ecclesiarchy in some degree.
or the Imperial Guard. Train up my power armor, give me a lasgun.
But I don't think it would happen. Could it happen? I wouldn't be opposed to it.
I wouldn't be
just-
surprised if it has happened somewhere,
Yeah.
but I do not think it's a commonplace
No,
activity.
no.
Right. If it does happen, it's super rare.
Yeah.
And
And the church probably doesn't know about it.
right,
Sure,
maybe.
maybe. I don't
Yeah,
know.
maybe it's just all our sisters just let her slip away into the
Yeah.
night.
If
and we just don't
real
talk
life
about it
nuns can do it, I'm gonna say
I'm
sisters
going to
can.
go ahead and say I don't know if that's for certain. I was talking faster than I was thinking.
JS asks, given that the Ordo Hereticus lies...
Pretty sure they can't. I'm just thinking about it because they make vows. So technically you're breaking your vows if you...
If
if
that's
you
the case,
leave.
then no, they cannot leave. I'm gonna
Right.
just say whatever the
It's like
actual
it's
real
like
life nuns
getting
can do.
married. It's like you made a vow. It's not like you
You
can
can
just...
divorce.
Nuns
Right, but you're still breaking
leave
vows. Right.
the nunnery.
He said leaving in good... You could get kicked out of a convent.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's the
happens
thing,
all
yeah,
the
on
time.
good terms.
Right.
While you're looking that up, Mark,
Looking for nun wife.
Hot.
Hot. It must be buxom.
in my area... Why are they all Russian? JS asks, given that the Ordo Hereticus lies, numerically speaking, just behind the Astra Militarum in size, what do you think the effect would be across their ranks if the Emperor was to rise from the throne? Would they continue to worship him as they do now, or would it send the Adeptus Sororitas against the new Emperor?
What? The whole.
Read that again.
Yeah, did we miss a word in there or something?
Given that the Ordo Hereticus is just behind the Astra Militarum in number, what do you think the effect would be across their ranks if the Emperor was to rise from the throne? So I think the thing is...
He's trying to stage a civil war. This guy's a
Well-
heretic.
no, it's... The church worships him as a god.
Right.
When the Emperor comes off the throne,
He's an even better god.
but
Yeah,
he
I don't-
sets his imperial truth as...
Oh, there
I'm
are no
not
gods.
a god.
Right.
Does he though?
You assume that he follows the same as he did before.
He might.
he
Pull,
though?
he
Let's
might,
assume that.
he might pull a Guilliman and be like, "Okay, I don't want to destabilize my own empire."
Yes.
Or
Blah
he
blah blah.
planned it
Let's
all
assume
along.
for the moment.
Yeah, I like to think that he would just get up and be like, "You guys are idiots. Stop
Yes.
it."
Yeah.
So in that scenario,
What do all these people do who have devoted their entire being
civil war.
a massive...
No, I don't see a civil war happening.
Are you kidding me?
I don't.
You're gonna
Why
have-
would you rebel against the one that you're worshiping?
Because
He's
no,
gonna- he's
you
trying-
are a god. We're gonna kill you
Because
now.
I'm going to
He's
go ahead
trying
and
to
point to a
kill
whole
you.
pre-mark who did exactly that and triggered a little thing we like to call the
Because
Horus
he's
heresy.
trying to kill you. Maybe you didn't want to kill him.
Right.
So you
Like,
think
the
these
Emperor's
billions of people are
fanatically
just going to
atheist.
lay down
But-
their lives?
But would they still worship the emperor? No.
Maybe.
How would? How could you?
Lorgar still tried to.
But he didn't
did, though.
really.
He did
He
try.
did for a little bit,
After
and then he was
Monarchia.
seriously reprimanded, and then
And
he didn't.
he's still in the back of his mind, dude, read the book. If you read a book, maybe you'll know.
I have read, listen to First Heretic.
Clifford, the big
Right.
red dog. No, so he did for a little
I
bit.
think it's going to be
still-
civil war. You're going to have those are going to be like, oh yeah, my God just didn't become a god anymore. Sure. And you're going to have those who want to maintain power, like the church. You'll have them be like, okay, we got to explain this away, but we're still going to fight because we're going to hang on to the little sliver of power that we have. And then you're going to have those who were like, my God was lying to me this whole time. he's not a god and he's not worth following at all. Let's kill him.
I think it would.
Right. You're gonna have all three
seriously
groups of
wreck the
people.
Sure.
Imperium.
Oh,
They're
sure,
it's just infighting, man. You can't determine a whole organization's stance on something.
yeah. I just don't see them still worshiping the emperor.
You
There
might
were
even
already
have,
people who did it.
You might
while
even
he-
have cults in there that are going to still be worshiping the emperor.
They were already doing it while he was alive, and he was saying, "I'm not a god."
Yeah.
So now that they've had
that
10,000
whole
years
church
of
started
tradition to do it.
underground with Lorgar's book.
I think it's
while
gonna be-
the emperor was saying, "I'm not a god."
Yeah.
But the emperor wasn't actively killing them.
Well, you know,
That's a good
Civil
point.
War. Civil War. I'm just
I do
gonna say
think it would
Civil
break
War.
the Imperium.
No, it wouldn't be a good thing. Bringing the emperor back in general would not be a good thing.
Not good for the setting. Not
Not
good,
good.
for.
Are you
In
kidding?
any
I would
way.
love to have that guy back. He's a cool drinking
No,
buddy.
him and any Primarchs should stay where they are, and the ones that are now in the front should go back to the back.
Vulcan, he's coming back. All right. Another part of his
That's an
question.
interesting question.
Would it send the Adeptus Sororitas against the new emperor? That's a tough
I'm gonna
one.
go ahead. It's gonna be person by person.
Yeah.
It's literally gonna tear itself apart like a Civil
Like
War.
it did the last time. 50% will stay with him, 50% will
Right.
fall away.
Some are gonna think, "Oh, we've been lied to forever." Burn him, or it's gonna be like,
How dare he try and
Yeah.
kill us for elevating him?
yeah,
right?
or
So-
those who are like, "Okay, I'm just gonna do what he says because he's the emperor," and that's what I've been indoctrinated to do.
All right. So he also has through pious and eternally worshiping the imperial religion. Do you think it's possible for orders to set themselves against each other? Is there lore to back that up?
Do Ordos fight each other?
Orders.
Yes. I'm going to say, because wars of faith, this is what happens, where people diverge, and then the ecclesiarchy will do a war of faith to
Yeah, of
Bring
course.
him back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the imperial religion is different on every planet, right? Because it goes to that area. So then if you find a planet that's just been slowly diverging over the course of time, there's still technically an order.
And it might end up being peaceful. It's like, "Hey, we're here to change what you believe," and then they might be like, "Okay, you're right. We were divergent," or it'll be like, "No, you're wrong."
So we're shooting
then
you and killing
gunfire.
you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. They would fight against each other if it needs to be. Space Marines fight against each other.
Yeah, but usually what he's getting at is you have to kind of explain it, right? Like the same way you can have two chapters lined up against each other. You got to have a reason for it. It's not like it's going to be like, "Oh, we're just different."
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
got to be
Yes,
like
of
for a
course.
good reason.
We're still all part of the Imperium.
right. You got to narratively set it up. Right?
Yes. And Jacob, our very last question, asks, what's the difference between Sisters of Silence and Sisters of Battle?
Oh my gosh,
They are very different.
they have nothing to do with each other but name. Sister.
The Sisters of Silence are the Emperor's left hand.
Yeah.
I think that's how they're described.
Yeah, and they're all psychic blanks.
Yeah. So they like,
And
And
they're
they were
not-
around since when the emperor was around.
Yeah, and they're not religious.
At all.
In any
If
sense.
anything, they might still hold on to the imperial truth because their organization was around when the emperor was
Just like the
around.
and work
Custodes.
directly with the emperor.
Right,
too.
exactly. Like they outrank Sisters of Battle like the same way Custodes outrank everyone. Right,
Yeah.
like they're up there.
Custodes, Sisters of Silence, everyone else.
Yeah,
But
Well,
Yeah,
wait,
they're
where's the
different.
Inquisition fit in there?
they don't.
They
That's
shouldn't.
the problem.
Oh my god.
yeah, completely different. One is tied to the church. One is not
Tied to the Emperor.
Tied to
Again,
the emperor.
only thing they share is female only organization.
Yeah.
and the fact that they use the term sister.
Yeah. Cool.
Cool.
Good episode.
Well, that concludes our episode for the Ordo Hereticus and the Adeptus
and their militant
Sororitas.
branch.
And a militant branch they'd like to
Stay
draw
tuned for
off
the
of.
next half hour for this fight.
Cool. Thanks for listening, guys. Obviously, like our page on Facebook, review us and rate us on iTunes. Check us out on Patreon. Check us out on Redbubble. You can purchase some cool travel mugs and shit like that.
Send us your listener lore. When we're done this episode, we're literally going to start recording our first listener lore episode. So
it's too late.
well, we have enough for probably
first of
3 or 4.
many.
Yeah. So as long as you keep sending them, when we think we got enough for an episode, we'll release them, and we'll try to do a little better with releasing them. No promises, but you will have one.
Coming up pretty quick here.
Yeah. So enjoy.
All right. See you guys.
Bye.
Peace.